it was kind of interesting. We talked about it yesterday a little bit on Seminole Headlines. Ira threw out a hypothetical. Would you, as part of the new coaching staff, or Mike Norvell as the head coach, bring Patrick Payton back? The thought being that you're limited as to the caliber of player or caliber of talent that you might find in the portal at that position for a couple of reasons. It's hard to find high-level rush-ins in the portal that don't cost you way more than you'd like to spend. And the other part of it is that, you have a guy who can play but didn't always play hard, and is he the kind of guy that you'd want to usher out the door to send a message? And what would the coaches think? What would the coaches look at when they had a chance, the new ones, to kind of look at his tape and say, yeah, all right, if I throw it out there with this caveat, we like your upside. You played nowhere close to your ability. You seem to have some issues with the whole effort thing, which is a real problem. But tell you what, you might fit in our system here some when we go 4-man. And there's an upside for you, but you got to fly right. We'll give you the spring. And the first indicator that you're not willing to play ball and that you're not going to try hard every day and you're not going to give your best effort for us as we flip this thing, then you're gone. That was what Ira posited yesterday on the show, and I still, Tom, couldn't bring myself to say, yeah, bring him back. Even realizing those realities, that it's hard to find that kind of upside talent at that position in the portal when, A, because of the cost, but B, because you did go 2-10. And a lot of those kids are going to go elsewhere. So even realizing that, I thought, he was pretty much the poster child for what was wrong last year.
Oh, buddy, I would tend to agree with you. My take would be if he'll do it for free and we can tell the world that he's doing it for free, then sure. Then I know you're serious. If you come back here and you play for $0 of NIL, I'll know you're serious and you're committed to the program and you're looking at the larger goal of the future. But short of that, basically I'm telling you, it's just not realistic. There's no way. And the sooner that this could have happened, the better. I wonder if it was because Florida State was waiting for James Williams to commit. I hope not. I hope they weren't hedging because, look, what is his presence going to do for you? Push you from 6 wins to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9? It ain't pushing you from 11 to championship. And if it's not going to push you from 10 or 11 wins to the playoff and a chance at a national championship, then we need to repair what's going on and what went wrong this past year.
Yeah.
I don't think I will continue to say I don't believe that there was a culture problem prior to the season. I think the season brought up all of the warts that maybe the snub had impacted and were underneath the surface. Once the ACC championship game was a pipe dream, as in the Monday night after losing to Boston College, I think at that point now you have real culture issues that didn't exist 2 months earlier. So we got to fix those first because next year is not about championship or bust. Next year is about getting this thing right, improving, and allowing this thing to foster for the long term. If you're trying to cheat and find your way to a win and you hope to God this kid doesn't ask for a renegotiation in May, no, man, we can't be playing that game.
Well, I think that it's a little bit of both. I think there might have been some underlying issues that were masked by the winning and by the 10 NFL guys you had starting for you the year before. I don't think that Mike read the room real well. I think he believed that he had leaders and he didn't. And then when things went wrong, there was nobody to lead. And it just continued to go south. Again, I thought he was emblematic. He wasn't the sole reason, but I feel like Patrick Payton was emblematic of all that was wrong last year with Florida State's defense. There were so many moments where he specifically was caught on film or in game, just not even trying, just kind of standing around, and I thought that one of the big mistakes that Mike Norvell made, perhaps his biggest, was continuing to play him. Continue to bring really any of the guys that were caught half-assing, half-stepping, not efforting. I thought you lost the team and it continued to spiral the more you let those guys play the following week. You'd hear it. He'd call it out in post games, and he would talk about the effort's got to be better. And we've just got. I mean, when he singled out the receiving core and talked about it being pathetic, the blocking out of the perimeter. Well, you had repeat offenders, and you called it out in the press conference yourself. And then they started the next Saturday. Hey, man. I can't do anything for you at that point.
Why? Because you're really jonesing for 3 catches for 52 yards?
And that would be a banner day for any of those receivers. Right. So, yeah, I'll just tell you, I thought that, I'm happy to see him leave. I'll just boil it down to that. I'm happy to see him leave. I think it's addition by subtraction. It's 100% addition by subtraction. What's your all's response when hypothetically on 12/29, he withdraws his name and announces via Twitter he wants to come back? No, I want him gone. I don't view him in the same manner that I do Darrell Jackson. I don't. I saw real growth in Darrell Jackson from the first game to the last game. I saw a kid that was beginning to show signs of maturing and kind of maybe understanding and figuring some things out. And I also think Darrell's more important to what they're going to be trying to do defensively. So when he announced that he wanted to come back, I thought, that's good news. That's good news. I think they're going to get the best out of him. I think Knighton will get the best out of him. I think Odell had done a good job of kind of, shepherding that kid along a little bit. Now, listen, he's had a lot of warts. I'm not trying to pretend and look the other way now that Darrell Jackson has taken way too long to figure out that, you got to work hard, try hard, play hard every day. But he eventually did. And so at the end of the season, unlike Patrick Payton, I was seeing a lot of really good effort from him, a lot of real fight from him, and he was improving. So I look at the two very differently. And again, everybody's got their opinion on players and what they don't like about their skill set or the way that they played in certain games. I mean, there's some bad tape out there last year from Darrell. There's no doubt, especially that first game against Georgia Tech.
First game. Yep.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. But I really don't believe that was born out of a lack of commitment or an unwillingness. I think their head was swimming, which really was an alarming sign right off the bat because we all knew what Georgia Tech was going to do. And we also knew Georgia Tech had a very good offensive line. And we knew all of the eye candy and the motion and the stuff that was going to keep them from rushing upfield, and they still fell for it.
Well, and then also consider how little they do at full speed in practice.
Correct.
Full contact. And he hadn't played football outside of the farce of the bowl game, but once in a 2-year span.
Right.
If you think about it that way.
Right.
Whatever you want to call it, 20 months, 21 months, one full contact game. I highly doubt that he participated in either scrimmage for any period of time. Mike Norvell even said in fall camp that during the scrimmages, they held guys out. So Darrell Jackson's first go-round in full contact in a game that matters, he looked like a kid that was in his first game playing full contact in a game that matters in 2 seasons. And that's where we were. And that's why in that particular game, I thought that Daniel Lyons was an excellent sub, and that was the second group where Farmer was still out there.
Yeah.
But you had Lolohea, who I really wish could come back. I mean, isn't that something that before the season started, we were looking at Lolohea as an early down defensive end, nothing more, and Patrick Payton as your dynamic edge player. And by the end of the year, Payton could come back in theory. Lolohea can't. And you're begging and wishing and hoping that you could trade a year of eligibility and give it to 13 so Newsy could come back and play another year. That's how far their stocks changed in terms of what we saw and the consistency that we saw.
Might just be that both really certainly need a change of scenery. I'm not going to attack, Patrick's, besmirch his character. I just know what I saw here. So maybe he goes somewhere else and gets it figured out. I don't know. Had a really good year for Florida State the year before,
where he played detail sound and there was effort. There was,
it was certainly aided by the fact there were so many other guys to worry about, and he had
carte
blanche to be able to do what he wanted to do.
If you've got a screen pass to the left and he's lined to the offense's left, he's on the offense's right, and he's 35 yards down the field trying to make a play on the ball, that's got nothing to do with Jared Verse. That has everything to do with how much he cares to play the game.
Yeah, no, he made plays last year. Well, again, that's that leadership that was all around him, and he wasn't a natural leader at all. And it would have been on him. It would have been incumbent upon him to take on that role coming into this season. That's the other thing. This kind of fun conversation because it's in the past now. We know what happened. It's untenable. It was unbelievable what we witnessed. And there are so many factors that led to it, we now know. But I think, in addition to Pat Payton, we would have thought that Darius was going to be a leader on this football team. But it is hard to lead when you suck. It is really hard to lead when you don't play well. And this is not a shot at him, the person, either. I like Darius. I've interviewed him numerous times. I've had great conversations with him. He's interesting. He's introspective. He's smart. He listens to the question. He's thoughtful. He's a lot of things. He was a hard worker. He played some good football for Florida State. There's a lot of praises to throw and to shower Darius Washington with. He sucked this year. He was awful from game one on. And you cannot lead if you're terrible. You can't. People aren't going to follow you. So Pat Payton, who you would have thought would become a leader going into this season, he had all the examples around him last year of how to lead. He didn't take on that role. If anything, right from the beginning, he pouted. The Georgia Tech game, all the reports that we had going into the locker room about things that he did. So that was a problem. Darius wasn't playing well. I doubt he felt like he was in a position to lead because he knows the tape. He knows he's getting crushed. I mean, good Lord, he got abused in the Boston College game in a way that was uncomfortable. It was a highlight reel for that kid on NFL draft day. So there's two guys. I don't know what happened to Maurice, but I mean, he regressed as well. So it's hard for him to lead because he didn't play well, didn't play as well as he had the year before, or even the year before that. He'd been here forever. So he couldn't do it. Who else was going to lead? It's interesting. They just didn't have anybody.
Yeah, Shaheem Brown.
Nope, never did. And he turned it down too much for my liking. I thought he'd be far more physical. If he plays here again, you got to be much more physical. He's an athlete, man, and he is a tough kid. I've seen it in practice. I don't know why I don't know if he was thinking too much or trying to get people to do a bunch of things, but he turned it down a lot.
In the grand scheme of what the 3-3-5 calls for, his body type, his potential skill set, you salivate over and you say, well, that fits. That's great. And I remember doing the Boston College breakdown and watching D-Rob look at the All-22 and the pre-snap adjustments of the communications. Shaheem was the only one that knew in the back end where to be, and how to align guys. And he was efforting to do so with consistency, and guys either were ignoring him or not looking for his instructions, and he got very frustrated by that. But that doesn't mean that you have to be the dude in the Miami game who just doesn't want to play. Like, you don't have to go from A to B. It's not, at some point, just continue to do your job. And if these guys around you want to fall to pieces, that's their business.
We've got more to discuss on this subject of the portal, who's in, who's out, what Florida State's done since we last talked, Tom. Good news, we got us an offensive lineman with a wealth of experience in the SEC, and a highly rated one at that, at least against the pass or while passing. This is a big guy, and a big guy that's played well for Vanderbilt and their resurgence. It was the first time that I kind of had a pep in my step, figuratively. I was – all right, there we go. Okay. I mean, at least on the offense, Tom. On the defense, we've had several wins here early on. But on the offense, I was like, well, we're waiting. This offensive line has been a train wreck. We're waiting. This was good news. I want to touch on all of that. Florida State played basketball last night, and they won their basketball game. And the players that we worried about as to whether or not, Chandler Jackson or Bull Bowen and Holt and those guys, and Daquan Davis. What was the status of those players? Were they doghouse guys from the last game, or were they sick, as it was suggested? Were they injured? Were they academic casualties? We all wondered, and the good news was good. We were all out there. One's in a walking boot, but they're there, accounted for. Nobody's in trouble. It doesn't look like it was a one-game scenario.
Even though there were a lot of 30-minute participants last night in that rotation.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I think they figured out who can play and who can't. They also had an injury in there, so there's all of that. Florida State wins the game in large part because of the 29-12 run they went on in the final 10 minutes of the first half, and it just kind of separated. It looked a little disjointed for a while there. Figured it might. College basketball has a lot of problems. Its ratings are plummeting, by the way. I'll get into that later on today. It's fascinating what's happening. But I would tell you that one of the problems they have is officials feel very comfortable having long-winded conversations about issues that nobody else is concerned with in a 2-2 ball game to start. Like, we're gonna like check on the clock. It's 2-2. We just started this basketball game, and we're gonna spend 7 minutes of you two ass faces just standing over there by the desk talking for 15 minutes? Come on, man. We got to stop. Stop with the it plagues college basketball. Officials sit around trying to figure out minutia.
They do. However, you can set the preseason over-under on Florida State facility clocks breaking during a basketball game at maybe 7.5 times.
Oh, and listen, I get it. I mean, it's not always
year.
Yeah, we look
Every
ridiculous.
year.
It's bizarre. Get a clock that works, for Christ's sake. But there's a lot of moments where you're like, all right, got it. Let's keep it on the court here, guys. Let's play some basketball. Come on, man. It's unbelievable. They do it all the time in other games, too, in other locales where they'll just stop. I get it. I don't know who touched that. Me neither. Let's go to let's take a look at it. For 8 minutes?
Yeah, we're on our third run of hamster dance.
Yeah, you're like, we don't have to do this forever and a day, guys. Florida State led by as many as 25 in the second half, 74-49 with 5:55 left. It was over. And it's Jameer Watkins with 23 points, 6 of 14, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. The home efforts from him where he closes his eyes before, the little breathing, it's all working. You win with 21 points, 10 of 15, by the way, and 15 boards. Ooh.
3 fouls. We're getting dangerously close to the oversimplified Okaro-White equation, making its way into 2024.
Yeah, you're right. Look, at the end of the day, Florida State had a comfortable win, so that's nice. And you have 19 ACC regular season games left on the schedule, and that's where we go. The next one's a home game against Louisville, who's 6-5, and that is this Saturday, 2:00, TLC-CC. Got to start winning some ACC games. It's a bad conference, routinely taking whoopings. Florida goes into Chapel Hill and beats North Carolina last night, led the whole game. Hubert Davis better be careful. They're 6-5 in Chapel Hill, but Florida's undefeated. Long, really talented, really good, and it seems like whatever accusations were hurled at that coach are going away. I don't know what to say about that, except for that I don't know if there's any teeth to them or not.
Well, look, maybe Carolina can go get Phil Jackson to coach their basketball program, and that way they've got two greats in the building.
Yeah. That game ended up being interesting. They came back from 17 down, meaning the UNC game, but they ended up losing anyhow. They came all the way back, cut it to 4 at one point. I actually kind of tuned into that. The bowl game turned out to be good, too. Did you stay up for it?
No.
I could do without them kicking off bowl games at 9 p.m.
Yeah, nope. Next week for the holidays, sure. 9:00 kick, I'm in. A random Tuesday, sorry, man.
Can't do it.
There was once upon a time where Monday Night Football started at 9 briefly.
It was a disaster.
Yeah. Might have been 8:30, but still. I think it was 9.
Yeah, I can't. It's tough. You got to really care. Once again, you got to really care about the games to tune into some of these that start at 9. But I do feel the weight of the lessening of football in the air. And there's a part of me that's like, okay, cool. I mean, I got it. That's all right. On to other things. We'll turn our attention to other areas. But also I get sad. It's like Sundays at, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock when you start hearing the 60 Minutes commercials. That it's just always been devastating. It's always been a running punch to the gut. I've talked about it before, man. You see that first 60 Minutes commercial on a Sunday, and the sadness washes over you with the quickness.
The gray hairs are exponentially growing out of my skull right now because I'm ready for the PGA Tour. That's what I'm ready for. I watched part of the match last night.
And you saw the Live folk take that ass whipping.
They did.
Took that ass whipping across the board.
They did. I did. I watched it. Good amount of it. It was not the greatest showcase of golf, but I was preferring golf, and so I'm ready for it. They playing in Hawaii yet? Let's go.
No, that's in January.
I know. Let's move along.
42-37, Memphis, West Virginia. Big comeback in the second half from West Virginia. Got interesting late, Tom. Tallahassee's own. Garrett Green ended up with, what did he throw for? 300 and something? Yeah, Garrett threw it around the lot last night. Now, he's an interesting player. because he can be really bad and really good. He had 320-plus yards, plus 2 touchdowns. I root for him. He also carried the ball 7 times for 95 yards. He played right here in our backyard at Childs. Not so sure he wouldn't have been a better option for Florida State the last couple of years. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Termite and Pest Control, we know if you have something in your home that's not supposed to be there, you want it gone now.
Not in a couple of days, not tomorrow, but today. That's why we offer a same-day guarantee.
If you call Paul's before 12, one of our technicians will be out before 5. We guarantee it.
The health of you, your family, and your pets is why we promise to do everything possible to quickly resolve your problem.
And we do so using the safest chemicals. Notice a pest problem?
Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control before 12, and we're there before 5.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
We're all spending more time at home than we ever have.
And our yards have become more than something we look at through the window. They are now a major part of our refuge.
Now that we're outside more, wouldn't it be great if we could eliminate the things that make us want to run back inside? Pests like mosquitoes and fire ants.
Paul's Pest Control can do just that, and will do it for a surprisingly low cost.
Our treatments are done outside. There is never a reason to enter your home.
The weather is beautiful, and now is the time to be outside.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control will help you take your yard back.
Call us for a free consultation.
Searching for the best place to host an event for your friends and family? The Golf Club at Summerbrook is more than just a place for a round of golf. It's also one of the best choices for hosting and celebrating the most special days in your life. From rehearsal dinners and baby showers to corporate banquets and kids' birthday parties, you'll receive amazing personal service and attention to every detail when you choose the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Find out how affordable it can be and call us today at 850-894-GOLF. That's 850-894-GOLF.
Very low cool, very comfortable, very low cool. Driven to the best, very low heating and air conditioning. Everything you got to do is what baby does.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Very low heating and air conditioning.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Headset on and your mic in front of you when the guy tells you you're back on.
That's all the prep we were doing. I'll take that one.
I knew it was going to happen. There is. What do you mean there's no live stream today? This is a live stream. Brand man, we're right here doing it.
You're looking at now.
You are looking at now, right?
That would
now.
be something if we guessed on a pre-record that Brand-Man was going to send us a message saying, "Is there no live stream today?"
No, it's live. It's all been live right from
we
the
were
jump.
correct.
You
Wow.
get to see my really fancy shirt. It's a fancy shirt, and I like it. I put it on this morning. I said, I feel fancy. All these stripes.
It actually matches the lighting behind you today.
Oh, it kind of does. You're right.
Did you change that to match the shirt?
No, I did not.
Okay, all right.
That would be something. I'm going to change this light.
You could be like Digger Phelps with the tie,
Oh, the pins
and
the
the highlighters.
Stupid highlighters.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
Okay.
I think he is. I think I would know if he was not. But I think he is. But it seems like we'll get that announcement pretty soon, right? At some point. Oh, look at that. Because Louis Carnesecca just died. And I knew you knew Louis Carnesecca, despite your age. I watched Louis Carnesecca, obviously coach against John Thompson and the like in the Big East, and a glorious time in college basketball that is no more. But I figure we're going to start getting those announcements. Hey, yesterday on the show, you and I in the bonus hour discussed the fact that we had a retiring. And Clausen, that would be Dave Clausen, resigned, said, I'm out, can't do it. Despite being 57 years old, he said, yeah, man, this ain't for me. This isn't going to work out. And I'll take whatever golden parachute Wake Forest wants to give me because I love living here, and I'll do what I can for now. And he's going to do that. And I was just kind of curious. This is not something we talked about on the air. But I was wondering who would take the job. Well, I think if you're the Pac-12, it's kind of alarming that Washington State's coach took that job. Jake Dickert is a really good coach, and they had a really good year. And the perception would be that previously in that conference, if you were at that job, it's a better job than Wake Forest. Oof. I don't think it bodes well for the Pac, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe Pullman was getting to him. He's
Well,
like,
that's possible.
yeah,
That
I need to go somewhere else.
That is entirely
Different
possible.
kind of sticks if I go to Winston-Salem than the sticks I'm in right
Well,
here.
Winston-Salem's beautiful, so I get it. You know, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't live there per se, but visiting has always been nice. So yeah, I could see it. But hey, later in the show, there's been a thinning of the herd moment in which a bear kills somebody, and I was like, yes.
All right.
Yeah, it's up in Virginia. You got me thinking about that area of the country.
Sure it was on video. You got
No, it's not on video at all. No. And this was from a listener who sent it in and said, I know you love this sort of thing, Jeff, and sent it to me. And this one you'll like. This one you're going to go, oh, yeah, no, that's good. Good. Screw that guy.
Was it a circus tamer?
No, but it was it was a guy that had it coming. And yes. So I mentioned that college basketball viewership is down. I just want to point this out. I'll get to FSU in a second. I was trying to, it felt that way. It always feels that way. The last 2 to 3 years, it has felt that way. But then yesterday, by accident, I was reading a story in the New York Times. Well, it wasn't by accident I was reading the story, but I was looking for some other information. I knew there was this other story. Adam Silver gave an interview. He doesn't give many of them. And he gave one about the in-season tournament that the NBA does that nobody watches. And he was talking about those numbers. And he said, look, there's no doubt the novelty from last year wore off. Nobody watched it this year. He basically admitted it. And he's like, well, we're still going to try to be forward thinking and do things to create interest with our, and he's a very good commissioner. He's done a great job. So when he was talking, I thought this is kind of interesting because I think a lot of leagues find themselves in this situation, not football, but baseball does and basketball, long seasons, hockey does. And so I kind of thought, well, I wonder what they'll do. And he was talking about the All-Star break and some other things. But in the course of the story, Sports Media Watch was cited, and they noted that viewership was down double digits almost across the board in a lot of things. College basketball is down 21%. So that feeling that I've had that nobody's watching is correct.
Okay, so a mutual friend of ours, in fact, we'll be playing golf with him next week, is one of the biggest college basketball fans I know.
Loves it. He's a nut for it.
He's a nut for it. All the brackets.
Gambles, yes.
Might go on vacation during March Madness, first weekend of the year, every year to be around the action and gambling, all that kind of stuff. Says he hasn't watched it in a year. Doesn't watch it anymore. It's just the product has taken a dive. And if somebody like that is a P1 that we used to say back in the old days, that is a P1. If you lose that guy, oh, buddy, you got real problems. And the sport that's emerging, no, it's not soccer like everybody has said it's going to be coming around for the last 50 years.
No,
it's baseball. Baseball has picked up the slack.
They have. That viewership is by the way, the NHL is way down right now. Did you see those numbers for NHL? Now, it's very much.
Nobody did. Sorry.
It is a communal sport, the NHL. It is very much about your team, your city. It's a community, city. I like that. It's a localized sport. That's fine. But their numbers are in the tanks and in the tank. And the commissioner needs to take a look at that because that's not a good sign. And by the way, we all know why women's basketball numbers are way down. They're down 38% this year. Well, that's because certain players no longer at Iowa. But I mean, that is pretty amazing. Now, his point was, and he's got a good point. He's like, look, we're certainly going to look at that. We have to address it. It's something that we're looking at all the time. But he went on to say something that is also accurate because I've pointed out, you've pointed out, people have paid attention. Linear ratings for cable have been going down.
100%.
Yeah, people are done with cable. I mean, they're not watching on cable anymore.
Well, and I think you could basically turn to most any sport and say that the ratings are diminishing. And I think they'd be diminishing even more so. Remember, they changed how they counted. It's like changing how you count the votes or something.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in that way. I'm talking about gangs in New York.
Right.
But like how at bars they count them differently than they used to, households they count them differently than they used to, and it racks up the numbers. So in the short term, what you were going to see was ESPN PR and Fox Sports PR and CBS PR talking about record viewership numbers that had never been seen before. But the ratings point was being measured differently.
Yeah.
Because of, well, they knew this crisis was coming, and you don't want to let advertisers in on the fact that fewer people are actually tuning into it. They can't hide it anymore. They can't hide it.
No, and Gen Z changed the way that consumers watch video content. 85% of that generation uses mobile devices to watch their games. I look at my own kids who are obviously not part of Gen Z, but they rarely come out and watch cable with me. I mean, if we watch a movie or if we watch, a specific, like they'll watch the Bucks game with me because they love the Bucks. So they'll come out and watch a couple NFL games with me. But for the most part, if I catch them watching something, it is a streaming service. It's some sort of streaming on their iPads or they'll be playing their video game and then have something on their iPad next to it that they're streaming.
Yeah. Some dude in his chair playing his own video game.
Almost exactly what they're doing, right? It's some sort of Instagram reel or YouTube or whatever it might be. Now, that said, and this will show you and tell you just how dominant football is, just how much bandwidth football takes up in the sports viewing world. It's almost as if it's single-handedly as a sport, both college and pro, crushing all other sports out of the marketplace. Their ratings in college football went up 6% this year, and the NFL is up again this year and continues to grow. It's immune to people cutting the cord and no longer watching cable. It's completely immune. People watch pro football more now than they ever have, and they're watching college football more exponentially year to year. We're watching it happen. It's amazing. And seemingly only football has that phenomenon going on right now. The rest of the sports are like, we're struggling a little bit, in particular college basketball. But yeah.
Well, I think part of it is I just wonder about the bubble at some point. We've talked about network bubbles and RSN bubbles, and that's already come to pass to a degree. I mean, it's changing hands from Fox Sports to Disney owned it, and then Bally owned it. Now FanDuel Sports Network and all these RSNs. Now the leagues are just buying.
Well, they're trying to.
Too.
Yeah, they're trying to. Yeah.
Well, look, man, baseball, when I went to a bunch of games in Queens this past year, that was a relatively cheap ticket. For most games, you could get in between $5 and $20.
If you sat out in the middle of nowhere, yes.
Well, you just go to the standing rail, and the ballpark is modern. So why the hell would you pay $125 for an outfield seat that's on the lower level? Just pay $15, go in, standing rail, and have your experience. But they get you with the concessions, they get you with the parking, they get you with merchandise, anything. The experience of even going to a game with a cheap ticket is not cheap.
Correct.
And I just wonder, because the value of a regular season game has been under attack for a long time in many sports. It's now starting to happen in professional sports. In the NBA, when load management is a problem and the players are telling you that tonight doesn't matter, as a fan,
You realize that tonight doesn't matter, right?
If I've got a season ticket package, well, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I get a 10-game package instead.
It's a plague in that sport. They've got a real problem on their hands. They're actively trying to remedy that situation, which is smart.
It is smart, but now what you're telling me also is that I don't have to watch that Tuesday in November that I thought mattered. It's a great clash of two stars, but it really doesn't matter because I'm not even sure that they're going to be playing. That has a trailing effect on ratings, I believe, that if you've got enough big-time players that are just scratched because they don't want to play, to use an old term, scratched, then what do I care until we get to, say,
till we get
March,
till we start getting to the nitty gritty. Well, that's where I do give Adam Silver and the NBA credit, is he recognized that was a plague, that you can't have that because of the message that you're describing, that it sends to all fans. And so you saw they incentivize now for you to be eligible for certain awards, which, by the way, are directly tied to bonuses for players. You have to have played in 70 games or, okay, that's smart. You want to win the MVP, you want to win Defensive Player of the Year, you want to win all those awards, which spike contracts and usually kick in other facets of said contracts, like an extra year, something like that. Yeah, you got to play, man. You could have the highest points per game average in the league. You play 66 games, you're not eligible. So that's smart. You should have done that. I can't believe they even had to have the conversation, but they did, and he addressed it, and that's changing. But they still have a problem with the length of that season. And, during football, there's not a lot of people like, oh, let me wander over here. My son does, because that's his first favorite sport, but I don't think most middle-aged Americans are swaying from football to go over to watch because football's on for 55 straight days at one point, and you just always got the option. And those ratings are massive. It's unbelievable that continues to grow in that manner.
What will be very, very fascinating, and I don't think this is just an inside football or inside media thing, to look at the ratings on Saturday between Ravens and Steelers and then Clemson against Texas, because you do get two major-ish brands in college. And I'm not poking at Clemson. I'm just saying that media market-wise, it's not that large.
No, it's tiny.
But brand recognition-wise, it's very big.
Well, also, it's a more important game.
Yes.
A regular season NFL game and a 17-game season, which both teams are making the playoffs.
Yes, but if you ask me, which game am I going to have on TV1 and TV2, I'm not sure yet.
I think Clemson can beat Texas. Ewers has not played well. I'm beginning to get intrigued, and I think it's good if we get some mild upsets in this thing. It would be fun. Indiana's got a shot to beat Notre Dame. That's actually a good matchup for Indiana, not because they're better, but because Indiana can compete with Notre Dame in the line of scrimmage in a way that maybe they couldn't some of these other teams. So I'm like, okay.
On-campus college football playoff games. It's going to be wild and fun to watch. I'm just saying that when we get to 4 o'clock on Saturday, I might be like, all right, I'm going to put Clemson over there on the second TV, and let's put Ravens and Steelers on the main one.
If you want to have fun, try to picture somehow, some way, Florida State fights and claws within the next 2 years to get into the playoff and gets it back on track. And that this week, right now, the week we're talking about, right here, right now, fast forward 2 years, you got a weather report of 38 degrees on Saturday, and you're getting buttoned up and thinking, we're going to a game. We're walking into Doak Campbell Stadium to watch a playoff game. Cold weather, dad's coming to town, friends and family are here, tailgating our ass off. This is going to be perfect. Got to get there.
It is in that specific scenario in which I'm already going to have it put in my my contract. It's always amended, these contracts that we have.
Mm-hmm.
The post-game show will start 1 hour after the game is over. I'm going to the first playoff
You're going to have
game
fun as hell. Yes.
I'm going to it.
And you're not sitting in the press box. We're going in the stands.
We'll do the post-game from Indigo on site so I can get back there quicker. Although it's not that much farther to my place. But still, I'm going inside that stadium for the playoff game. This has been a dream for my whole life.
And perhaps the transfer offensive tackle, Gunnar Hansen, is the reason that the catalyst to believe it can happen. We'll talk about him next. He said yes to Florida State. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has arrested and charged a Cairo woman who is believed to have stolen several $1 million after receiving a report that funds held by South Georgia Law Associates, LLC in Thomasville, had been misappropriated. The GBI were called in to investigate. On Monday, December 9th, Melissa Merrick, 50 of Cairo, was arrested and charged with 8 felony counts of forgery in the 3rd degree and 1 felony count of theft by taking. Agents and investigators determined Merrick was responsible as a law firm's office manager, and that she had full access and control their financial accounts. For several years, Merrick moved funds between the law firm and GFA Design Build Contractors LLC, a Cairo company owned by Merrick and her husband. It is estimated that the final amount of the theft will be several $1 million. Merrick was arrested and booked into the Thomas County Jail. This investigation is ongoing, and additional charges are expected. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of rain showers this afternoon. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Daytime highs approaching 77. Southwesterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain showers with fog in spots tonight. Lows level off around 61. Cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 71 degrees.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Jeff.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Couple of guys to celebrate Florida State having signed. We'll actually start on the defensive side of the ball because you get a defensive lineman on the same day that you learn Patrick Payton's in the portal. Most of us are excited to see Patrick Payton head on down the road, but James Williams has officially signed with Florida State. They have released the quote from Mike Norvell regarding that. I'm excited to have James in our program, but here's the part I like. He brings toughness and plays with a relentless edge, tremendous motor, and a proven knack to get to the quarterback. Okay. What?
He chooses his words.
Well, the numbers are good in that regard. In his time with the Cornhuskers, 7.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks over those 16 games that he played. Career highs with 5 tackles and 2 sacks versus Rutgers, 2 sacks against Purdue, had a huge sack against Iowa in the regular season finale. Look, his best year needs to be this year. He needs to continue the upwardly mobile trend here. He hasn't seen his best days just yet, but here we go. He was trending in the right direction. His productivity continued to emerge in his time there. And at 6'6", 255 pounds. Okay.
And he could still hit the gym. That's what's interesting, too. There's development to go. He's a younger player, but he only has 2 years of eligibility remaining because he was at a community college before he joined Nebraska. So he's got 2 years of eligibility to go. I just like that the quote was, he tries hard, tries very hard, succeeds, plays with a lot of try. There's a lot of care in his game. He tries hard. And I like the fact that he brings it every single down he tries.
He plays hard. Tries sounds like you can't get anything done, but you're working hard. Plays hard is a little bit more of a descriptor. But I see what you're saying, and I agree with you.
A lot of effort there.
Oh, yeah, there's a sell to the fans there. Unlike the guy that left, we brought in a guy who will play real hard. I know where you're at. This one has a relentless edge to him. That was the quote.
Could be first down or second down. Could be third down. Could be
Yeah.
first drive of the game.
We could be winning or losing.
Could be the second drive of the game. In fact, the third drive of the game, he tries.
Yeah.
How about the fourth drive of the game? I see a lot of effort there.
Yeah. Could be that we're 0-2 or 2-0. He's always trying. He's always trying. Don't have to worry about all that not trying thing that you saw last year, guys. That was a bad look. I'm there with you. We're bringing in guys who like to try.
And outside of the fact of trying, I think he's got a tremendous motor.
Yeah. Keywords. Yeah, so tremendous motor. Now, go back to the other part of this, which is what we were just talking about, and that is that you got an offensive lineman, and I've been waiting on it, and it's transfer offensive tackle from Vanderbilt, who had a good season, Gunnar Hansen. This is what I like about him. First of all, he didn't allow a single sack against Alabama when they pulled off the upset, 40-35. He was, in terms of grading out in that game, sensational against Alabama. That's a high level of competition. They have real athletes at Alabama on defense. Him blocking them successfully, repeatedly, allowing for Vanderbilt to score 40 points is a good sign. But it gets better. I also like the fact that this is a guy that's played a lot of football. I mean, a ton of football. He had a redshirt year his first season in the SEC at Vanderbilt. Didn't appear in any games that season. He then went on, started 11 games the next season. So he got bigger and stronger, presumably. Started 11 games the next year. Was a full-time starter of the front. Then the following year, played a lot again. Now, if you think about that experience and the amount of games played, it's absolutely huge to bring in a guy who's gone week to week to week against SEC caliber defensive lines and is now coming into the ACC as a completely seasoned veteran. One would think, I don't know, but guessing based on his success rate in the SEC, he has to be a very strong guy. He's massive. He's not small. I mean, he's, again, what do I say, 6'6", 330 pounds. I mean, he's a big, big dude.
Which is a little kind of stockyish for a tackle, but, he played tackle in that league. So I would assume that means he'll be a tackle here.
Yeah, 3-year starter, left tackle. This fits the conversation and the objective. Find me guys that have played Power 4 football against good competition. Obviously, by definition, you're in the Power 4. It's better competition than elsewhere. And that has a ton of experience and that I can look at the film. I can look at the film and see what I've got. What did you do playing big-time college football? Not what are you going to do, what I think you might do, what I hope you'll do. What did you do when you faced good football players? Did you succeed or fail? How often did you succeed? Is there a track record of really good play? They don't have this luxury of, again, projecting with too many guys. They can't say, I hope that speed translates. There hasn't been any productivity yet. He's got 4 catches in his career so far, and I know we got him from Alabama, but he didn't do anything at Alabama. I'm hoping that maybe because they liked him, it'll mean that he's a very good player. They didn't have room for him. He comes here. We start him. It translates. That's worked in the past with certain players. But you no longer have the luxury in hoping that they'll be productive. You need to see it. You need to go, he has been productive, period. We're done talking. They played Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Auburn, Florida. Good. Had a great game here too. Yeah, no, he can do it. Thank you. Sign those guys. Sign the hell out of those guys. And it's true too. I'm not saying they have to come out of the SEC. That's nice. But again, we saw Braden Fisk was very productive at Western Michigan. Very productive to the point where everybody said, oh, he doesn't belong there. This guy's whooping ass. Where's he going to go? And Notre Dame, obviously right in their backyard, practically went, we can't wait. We want him desperately. Florida State swooped in, got him. And obviously the rest is history. He had a great season and having a great year in the NFL. But he was productive even at Western Michigan. You saw it on tape. You saw him dominating competition. You know he can play. Get as many of these guys that can play. Just show me those guys and bring them in. Now, there needs to be more. We need to see much more on the offensive line in the way of recruiting. I don't freak out the way that I think the fan base freaks out what are we at? 1 right now that we've signed on the offensive line? Yeah, 1's not going to get it done. You're going to need much more than 1. But there's time. There's time. You can get more than 1. They might get more than 1. They might get 4. I'd prefer 27.
You get a couple of UCF kids, maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
So, we'll go from there. I do like that, kind of, I was mulling around here. You think about what Florida State did last year. They gave up 4.2 sacks per game. That was the most in the FBS. Now, they had a bunch of quarterbacks who held the ball for too long. In the first half of the season, that quarterback couldn't get out of the way of a sack. Second half of the season, they're playing young kids who weren't ready, so they held on the ball too long. But they also didn't block anybody. You
could say holding on to the ball might increase your pressure rate, but I don't think it increases it 10% over the competition.
No.
I mean, if you're at a coin flip and the next worst team's at 38%, that might be a little bit on the quarterback, but I doubt that's all on the quarterback.
Yeah. So, again, he didn't allow a single sack against Alabama. I feel pretty good about taking a chance on that guy. That's pretty good. I'm like, all right, that works for me. Let's bring him in. Let's bring another guy in just like him. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
I'm Craig Richards with Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from people we represent that they shared their stories of how they were injured, either with law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners, and they didn't believe their story. That's why you need an attorney who has your back, no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing you're telling the truth. We at Basic Brooks, we believe you. Let's talk. 850-777-7777.
Every journey starts with a first step, a daring step. But what they don't say about first steps is that you have to keep going, taking step after step, and eventually you take a big leap, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. After 57 years, Tallahassee Community College is soaring even higher, and we're now officially Tallahassee State College. We invite you to take a step and visit Tallahassee State College. Learn more at tsc.fl.edu.
Sarah here with Seminole Auto Glass. Hey, Greg.
Hey, what's up?
It's turkey season. Have you hit one yet?
A turkey? No.
Good for you, because we've seen more turkey suicides than anything lately.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we had a pretty foul morning.
Oh.
But our customer just went to Seminole Auto Glass and uploaded their insurance card. We got them back on the road with feathers flying in no time. Hey, Greg, which side of a turkey has more feathers? The outside.
Oh.
Better call Seminole.
Seminole Auto Glass. Call 850-539-4527.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn from Finn Chiropractic. The holidays bring all of us together for joy, cheer, and celebration. But we all know that the holidays also bring weight gain, increased stress levels, and many other health problems. You and your loved ones don't have to spend the holiday season fighting through pain and discomfort. The neck pain, back pain, headaches, numbness, and tingling. Oh my! Don't bury the warning signs that your body is shutting down. Call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700. That's 386-7700. Or sign up at FinnChiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. Kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WBFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 brought to you by Falmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Florida State football continues to have success in the transfer portal. They have landed another Nebraska defensive player as they have picked up edge James Williams. Williams goes to Tallahassee, likes what he sees, and he reunites with new defensive coordinator Tony White and defensive line coach Terrence Knighton, who each came over from Nebraska. Also, they have picked up a pledge from former Vanderbilt offensive lineman Gunnar Hansen. Florida State basketball, they pick up a win over Winthrop yesterday, 82-64. Florida basketball wins as well. Great win over North Carolina, 90-84. This Sports Flash is brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun, and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Was the holiday season at Total Wine and More? So many friends that you need to shop for. Gifts on their shelves are so easy to find. Just what you love for your loved ones in mind. Your father likes Pinot Noir, Cabernet for your sis, champagne for a co-worker, never a miss. Now that's a low price you'll shout out with glee when you shop Total Wine for them and for me.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect. Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28.
It's holiday shopping season, and as usual, there's a lot of new Apple gear out there. But before you buy that Apple Watch or new iPhone, stop by Mac & More Systems. The experts at Mac & More will help you make the right decisions to ensure all of your devices work together properly. That Apple Watch might not work with the previous generation iPhone, and there is no one I trust more for advice, sales, and support for all of my Apple devices more than Mac & More Systems. Call them today, 894-3622, or visit them online at macandmoresystems.com.
Tallahassee is full of rich history and traditions. When you think of things that jump out in the minds of longtime residents, the state capitol, Maclay Gardens, the Springtime Tallahassee Parade, FSU and FAMU Sports, the St. Mark's Lighthouse, St. George Island, and Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Paul's has been protecting thousands of people, their pets, their homes, and their lawns in the capital region for over 50 years. Locally founded and still locally owned and operated. There aren't many businesses in our industry that keep it together that long. Paul's Pest Control has many customers we've been honored to serve for over the last 50 years. We've experienced tremendous changes in how we treat homes and protect the people that live there. We've moved from liquid termite treatments that require drilling into the home's foundation to Centricon, a baiting system which works with their natural biology. We've moved from interior service to exterior treatments for general pests. But one thing we're not going to change is our old-fashioned commitment to personal service for each of our customers, the same way we've been doing it for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Keith says, Jeff, Texas beats Clemson by 3 scores. Bank on it. Tennessee upsets Ohio State. Penn State over SMU. Reading for SMU. Notre Dame over Indiana. Notre Dame line too good for Indiana. Yeah, I think Notre Dame's line is too good. I'm not picking Indiana, but I think they can compete with Indiana. Compete with Notre Dame. And I would say that I haven't loved Penn State's secondary, so maybe SMU is hanging around. They're going to need Texas is going to need Ewers to play a hell of a lot better than he has down the stretch of the season. Then again, they always have the fallback to go to Arch Manning.
Yeah, you get one bad drive, maybe the start to a second one. We're calling timeout.
We're having a conversation.
2nd and 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2nd and 10, timeout.
Yeah, we've seen about enough of this here, Quinn. I just wonder if all the rumors about the fact that he may not be 100% healthy are true. You keep hearing that. You see that at Texas sites as well. Just watching the games, you kind of feel a little sense of like, I've seen you throw the ball better. I've seen you throw the ball better than you're throwing the ball right now.
This is when you got to know whether you're helping your team by playing or hurting your team by playing.
Florida State got an offensive lineman. We talked about him last hour. They got a defensive lineman. We talked about him last hour. They also had Patrick Payton enter the portal. We talked about that last hour too. I think most people are like, all right, that's fine. Patrick, take it on down the road. Take it on down the road. That effort last year was pathetic. I think you got to cleanse the locker room of guys who aren't playing hard. Send messages whenever possible.
And then also in camp, if you've got a veteran that you believe has proven himself, well, he has to continue to prove himself. Well, that would be a good idea.
Well, Tom, it's not like there's, is there a sacred cow on this roster where you're like, oh, that guy's as good as gold. He has nothing to worry about. No. I mean, there's no one player that you're like, yep, they couldn't operate with that dude. That's the problem. Is there aren't enough of those guys anywhere. There's no, you don't see a guy where you think to yourself, well, I believe, listen, we're going to play Billy Squire today, dad guy. Don't worry about it. We'll run the risk that some things get taken down or whatever. I don't know how we'll do it. Tom will figure it out, but we're not. And I want him to be able to hear it.
Warchant TV? No, man, they're screwed.
That's awful.
Now we've
got to do better.
Them. How about for the last segment of the show, we'll sign off here early on the YouTube side, but we will link them to the stream player where we have rights there.
Yeah. We've got it.
We play the whole song.
We need to. It's ridiculous. You can't go through the holiday season. We haven't played it once. This YouTube thing is annoying as hell.
I could start the third hour with it. We could do it that way. We could let the radio clash for a day.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a good way to do it then.
Yeah.
Now, that's not going to help these guys.
No.
They're all screwed.
They got no chance.
Yeah. Luckily, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, they all exist. So if you need to, right at the start of the next hour, hit play right there. That's what you do.
Or just go to the realtalk93.com. You can hear it there.
Yeah, you could be listening on the radio and you'd be all set. We got to find a workaround at some point. Yeah, Squire would be desperate for those royalties. I don't know how well he saved his money. Old Billy. Many from that era didn't seem to have great financial advice at their fingertips. Many from that era struggling. Now, I don't know. Billy could be doing fine.
You don't hear him on the circuit. You don't hear about Billy Squire.
You don't hear about him playing at the fairgrounds?
That would be,
the circuit, yes.
He's not playing at Wild Adventures in July. He's not playing after the Marlins game.
I was going to say
groovy Saturday night.
Yeah, yeah. On a Saturday night in June, stick around after the Marlins take on the Dodgers, and you'll get to hear Billy Squire. Yeah, this is crazy and really cool, and it was brought up at the bowling tournament. So remember, and I know you do, the Great White story from last week.
Oh yeah, I sure do.
Guy walks up to me at the bowling alley. He goes, you're not going to believe this. I go, what? He goes, I was listening to you talk about the famous fire in the Great White concert and all that. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, get this. Years ago, I went to a wedding. Brother-in-law, something like that, right? He goes to this wedding, and he gets introduced to a guy. Starts talking to the guy, and the guy's like, basically comes around and admits to him that he just got out of prison, that he had done a certain amount of time. He's like, well, goodness, he's shocked. He's like, what?
That was not a cash bar wedding. That was an open bar wedding.
And he asks him what for, and he's like, I was part of a disaster. I okayed pyrotechnics at a concert, and it ended up killing 100 people, and I took the blame for that. I pled guilty. It was the guy I'm talking about.
Oh my Lord.
How crazy is that? He detailed for him the Great White Show that I was just talking about. Now this happened earlier, but the fact that he was driving down the road listening to me tell that story, he's like, I met that dude. How crazy is that?
Pretty crazy.
It's awesome. That is interesting.
Not as crazy as being stuck in that mosh pit, but pretty crazy.
Well, that was deadly, not crazy. That was deadly.
Crazy, deadly.
Yeah, crazy for the amount of time that you could still take in air. But
warm.
It was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Is there any concern? Are you developing the same sort of concern
that the Great White story will be back in 2025? Yes.
I hope it is. I hope there's another one that's akin to it that I'm able to go down that road. But no, is there any growing concern that you have, the way that I see fans in the chat and people on our message boards have, that they're not doing enough right now, that the trenches feel a little bare?
Not yet. No. You've got 80 windows in which you can grab kids. It's not just this window. I was talking about that last night on the reaction video, because you've got the portal closing on the 28th. That's true. But then also, if you grab a backup on a playoff team of any kind, you've got an extended window beyond the 28th. If somebody pulls a Dave Clawson and retires out of nowhere or takes a job with the NFL, then there's a 30-day window that kicks in for that program, and maybe you poach a kid there. Then there's also the spring window, and any grad transfer who completes their undergraduate studies can just leave whenever he wants. So, no, I'm not concerned yet. I think what's happening to us is all we're staring at is reminders of 2 and 10 and holiday bills that are incoming, and we feel the fatigue of the college football calendar. I know we do on the professional side, but I think the fans feel it too. There is a fatigue factor, and so we're a little grouchy. And if things aren't ideal, we get a little bit more grouchy, and we're saying, what gives? I am not worried yet. If we get to the 15th of next month and they've only brought in 2 offensive linemen, buddy, that is unforgivable. But there's a long way between now and then. And last year's portal activity didn't really fire up until we got well into the new year. That's when we went on a run of 6 guys, 8 guys, 10 guys. It was just after Mike decided to stay. It was like bam, 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 bam. And next thing you knew, you have upwards of 15 dudes that are committed. So just hang in there, everybody. I would like to see them sign the Chiefs offensive line too. They would be playing for us next year, but just hang in there.
So Omega Blake, the wide receiver from Charlotte, was going to be at Arkansas today. Did he sign with South Carolina?
I'm unaware if he did or he did not.
I'm just, if you pull up his profile, I don't know anything about that kid except for that he's been on 3 different teams already in his young career. That is one thing that you worry about.
Well, he's a Charlotte wide receiver. I get that he's been on other teams, but yeah, I don't know, man. The receivers we're looking at outside of maybe one guy that we kind of know indirectly.
Well, he started his career at South Carolina is what I should have said. I apologize. I had that wrong. I just double-checked it.
I don't know much about Omega Blake. I know that Deuce Robinson will be in town here. They'll arrive tomorrow night. That's a big visit on Friday. That would be a nice get. And then they like some of the young kids they have. I think we need to change our expectations for the receivers room in this way. Gus's system is far easier, or it lends itself to true freshmen or redshirt freshmen playing. So I think you've got some answers on the roster.
Okay.
And if you could fortify it with a couple of kids from the portal, I care far more about the trenches than I do in Omega Blake or a Kendrick Law. Or
we've been asked the question. I'm just seeking to answer that question about the receivers they're looking at. I get it. Everybody watched our receivers drop everything. They're also not a big fan of throwing fades to 5-7 kids, and I wish Mike would stop doing that. Hopefully everything about what we see from the new offense is that doesn't happen again. They've got real size that they're going after, which is exciting. And I agree with you. Receiver is not the pressing problem here. The big thing you got to do is get offensive and defensive linemen. You got to win the line of scrimmage. The more of those guys you bring in, I really won't worry myself. I mean, every time I hear about a running back or another defensive back, I'm like, no, save your money. We got a stable of running backs. We just brought in an elite running back from Georgia who was committed to Georgia. We got plenty of running backs. Don't go get any more. You don't need any more damn running backs. Stop worrying about them. And I don't think we need any more safeties. Let's put it that way. Save that money and let's pool it for offensive linemen and defensive linemen. You're set at tight end. You're good to go. There it is. It's right there.
Yeah, the only thing I would say.
Now, that said, really quick, sorry, Deuce Robinson being the exception at 6'6", 220.
Yeah, agreed. I think everybody understood that you would be okay with that. Yes, and
yeah. I just want to be sure. Yeah.
Safeties / linebackers, like whatever hybrid type position fits nicely into a 3-3-5. If you need to bring in a couple of guys that physically fit into the scheme that you want to run, because I think we're going to be multiple next year. My guess is we have some 4-down looks, maybe more than they had at Nebraska, because we're in a state of transition as a program here from one philosophy to the other. But in theory, you want to have 3 linebackers on the field at all times. I don't know that we have the personnel for that right now. So if you can find a hybrid type that's somewhere between a safety and a linebacker that could help you in the portal, then sure, go shopping for that particular player. Let Tony White put some pieces on the field that fit what he wants them to do.
Yeah, the Nebraska kids.
Yeah. Maybe a kid or two else out there that might emerge. But yeah, it's trenches. It's trenches. Now, Darrell Jackson coming back was not foreseen a week ago, and that's a good get. James Williams is a good get. Probably 2 or 3 more defensive linemen would be nice. 2 or 3 more. And then another 4 or 5 offensive linemen. You get all those things done. Deuce Robinson says yes later this week, then now you're cooking.
And I want all those linemen to be guys that have done it, that we've watched it happen, that have played at a high level, that are guys that you can depend on to get after it in the trenches, man. You just can't be soft again. I can't watch it. And I really believe that this conference allows for you, Florida State specifically, it does it for Clemson as well. But if you're Florida State and you're operating at peak efficiency, you have players that play hard, they're physical, they're aggressive, they're talented, you've got a baseline that Florida State should always have of talent. If you're operating at peak efficiency, or at the very least, you're not so far below the reasonable standard of Florida State athleticism, right? You're going to accidentally win 8 games every year. You're going to win 8 games in this sorry-ass conference. You're going to beat Duke. You're going to beat Wake Forest. You're going to beat Virginia Tech. You're going to beat Virginia. You're going to beat NC State. You're going to beat North Carolina. There's a lot of sorry-ass teams in this league. Sometimes they have good years and they go right back down, but when they're not Florida State, when Florida State's right, they're on the other end of ass whoopings. End of story. When 2013, when we were right, those poor bastards, they knew. Come get your ass kicking. That's what that was about. And it works that way for Clemson too when they're right. They just throttle people. Now, they haven't been right in a while, but you get my point. And I know we're far from being right, but when we are, you can't lose 10 games. You can't lose 6 games. You'll accidentally win 7 or 8. Now, this question will be whether you can beat Florida and Clemson and Miami, and if you got an out-of-conference game like Alabama. Those are the 4 or 5 games that you would circle. Everything else should just be like, oh, we're going to win that game. Maybe a roadie against Notre Dame becomes problematic. You get my drift.
Well, the thing is with this staff, does it bring that floor up? Because, what you just learned, this team wasn't that record bad. You're saying when we're right, we win at bare minimum a certain amount of games. I don't think we were that far off from being right, quote unquote, this year. But when you have 25-year-old dudes that are on your team or 23-year-old players that look like they've never played together, man, you found a special way for us to be as bad as we were. Now, hopefully this new staff, really, it's 2 turnkey operations, one from Orlando, one from Lincoln, and they come here. Hopefully that changes some fortunes of the guys that are currently on the roster, and they're going to be holdovers. I would love to rediscover a player that I've written off on this roster and say, oh, he's actually good. Wow, we were really terrible at development. because this guy that I left for the scrap heap, and if he left for the transfer portal in December, I would have said, no big deal. Look at how important that player is now to our rotation. I hope we get a few of those stories this year.
Who's the best candidate? Because I think
Juice Cryer or Omar Graham, maybe?
Well, you saw some potential for Omar Graham. I still would argue that if Florida State's right, Omar Graham's not on the roster, but okay.
But I want to allow for the opportunity. I agree with you. Yes, there were moments where he went straight ahead well, but then still when it came to understanding, do I go left or right? It's just, I don't know. And that was even at the end of the year. But I'm allowing for the fact that next year you go, oh my God, he knew how to play all along. We were just failing him at an epic level. Like, think about how Derwin James' career finished here versus how it started.
Yeah.
We hit him in center field.
We wasted his career at Tallahassee.
Yes.
Wasted it.
Yes. I would like to, at this point, now many of these guys have been kicked to the side and paid handsomely to go to the side, that we have 3 or 4 dudes on offense and or defense. And you say, well, oh my God. Look at this. You bring in a proper set of eyes and you get something out of these guys.
You might get something out of Blake Nicholson next year.
Sure. Yep.
Athletic, can really run with folks, is getting bigger each year he's here, is not afraid of contact, does play hard. Wasn't really good. Then again, this defense sucked. And I've wanted the linebackers coach fired since he got here, and he was.
Well,
so good. We'll see.
You've got a new safeties coach. Maybe that means that Earl Little turns into something. There's a want to there. So if you take that want to and a new set of eyes, maybe he's somebody that's all over the field and you say, man, Zero is just all over the place. This is awesome. Maybe KJ Kirkland plays with a little bit more instinct rather than looking like he doubts himself as he comes downhill to try and make a play. I mean, yeah, there's a chance for some of these guys where they have a renaissance because there's a proper set of eyes watching them and developing them.
I am very glad that they were able to bring in the Nebraska linebacker. That was huge. He's played in the system. He's also a monster.
He's a large human being.
He's a big dude.
The numbers have been okay, but yes, that he knows where to be. That's critical.
Well, and remember, don't discount that the lack of coordination and the overall level of inconsistent / poor play at that position has been plaguing us for some time. And if you just see somebody who competently runs a defense and you have somebody who understands where they're supposed to be, thus they're able to play fast, they may be lacking on that front end talent that we expect to have.
Yeah.
But just by merely being competent and able to play fast to go along with whatever gift they have from a size standpoint, he is big, 245. All of a sudden, they're going to look like, to us, like the old days. We're going to be like, there's Buster Davis.
Well, yes, and this is a defense that's going to ask a lot of you if you do play in the 3-down set. There's a lot of different directions that the pressure is going to come from, so that falls all the more on the guy who's got the green dot to coordinate things and be quick with it. I mean, this is where sometimes our eyes tell us truths and non-truths when we watch practices and camps.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I feel I got right immediately was when Tatum Bethune came in from UCF, you saw Adam Fuller back off the practice field. He didn't need to be there yelling at guys about what was going on. Tatum knew the deal.
Yeah.
He knew what was required of him. And that's why the defense ran smoother. There was communication levels. You could use that with a center fielder this year, too, at safety. So Evan Cooper's got his work cut out for him to see if somebody can coordinate things from the back end and then also at the same time come up and make plays. But you're right. You grab a kid from Nebraska like Thompson, he comes in.
He's run it. He'll understand it.
He
can
tell
help
the
teach
5
it.
dudes around him,
Yes.
the other 2 linebackers and the 3 linemen in front of him getting this gap. Yeah, that's important.
It's hugely important. I wanted to get that whole crop of player. How many total players have we had enter the portal to this point?
They got to be closing in on 15.
There will be more. We just had another one, obviously, today. I just got done bringing that up, but double checking the FSU departures. I got it right here. So it also counts, obviously, the guys that took it to the NFL too. But if you just want the portal names, we have it on warchant.com. It is actually on just the.
I've got 18 by a quick count, and that's just portal, not draft.
Yeah, draft is Benson, Byers, Thomas, Azaria, that is Daryl Jackson, no longer on that list. Bring him back, which I like, and Josh Farmer. The transfer portal is Kelly, Marvin Jones Jr., DeMarco Ward, Luke Kromenhoek, Darrell Powers, Brian Courtney, Lamar Green Jr., Julian Armella, Destin Hill, Darion Williamson, Omar Graham, Marion Cooper. Omar Graham opted back in, by the way. Duke Cooper, Durajaye, Byron Turner, Jackson West, Dante Anderson, Deuce Spann. In truth, all of you who have wondered about how many people were leaving and how many people were coming in would look at that list and say, there's like a guy, maybe two, that bother you. Maybe. Depends on where your heart is with Kromenhoek, and it depends on how you feel about Destin Hill. Everybody else, you're like, have a good one. I mean, there's nobody else nobody's heartbroken that Marvin Jones Jr. left. He didn't do a damn thing for this team last year, and I desperately wanted him to be a fan. I wanted to see that guy built that way be some semblance of what his dad was, but we got none of it.
Well, and this is the word of caution, because recall that he was said to have had the most exponential rise in development of any edge rusher that has appeared here at Florida State since Mike Norvell took over.
Yeah.
So if you hear anything in the spring showcase this year that's of the like that the coaching staff told us on Thursday, that ... whatever, man.
Well, this is where, remember, I said this during the course of last year when things went sideways. We talked about how, look, everybody can say whatever it is they want about all of us in the media expecting Florida State to win 8 games, 9 games, at least 7 games, and how we all got it wrong. But nobody got it more wrong than Mike. And he was on the record of talking about those players. And we're taking the head coach who had just gone 13-0's word for it when he tells you that Marvin Jones Jr. had made these kinds of strides that Tom just explained. That's a direct quote, that nobody had made a quicker rise from where he was.
Not Jermaine Johnson, not Jared Verse.
Right, that's from Mike Norvell. This is the best and biggest and strongest offensive line I've ever had. Quote, unquote, Mike Norvell. So, look, we got it wrong. But part of what we got wrong was we trusted the head coach's evaluation of his team and what he had to say after practice when we interviewed him and asked him questions about the players.
And Marvin looked good in pass rush drills, but we now understood why.
Yeah.
Once the season started.
But yeah, the thing this is going to plague him until you win a bunch of games again. Nobody's going to believe a damn word he says about a player. How could you? How could you? You wouldn't. I mean, if after the first day of full pads or after the first scrimmage, he tells you that Chroma is going to be special at running back, I want to believe him. You want to believe him. The kid was a running back committed to Georgia. They've had a slew of really good running backs. You'd like to think that translates to some semblance of truth about that evaluation from your head coach and what this kid potentially could be. And you know what? I'm going to go, I don't know. He could suck. Good. Don't have any idea. It happened. It happened with certain receivers too. So
Hakeem was said to be close before he pulled his hammy.
Well, I was there that day and that sucked. I was watching it when it happened. And as soon as it happened, I, at the time, said to the person sitting next to me, we're screwed. He's out and he won't be anything close to what he could have been, meaning this year. The way that, and now that it's in the past and he's over it and all that, we can talk about it. I was standing right there. It was towards the end of the outside session. They throw a deep bomb. It's a long touchdown catch. Beautiful throw from DJ. Hits him right in stride over his shoulder. And he was really starting to practice well finally because he started the practices slow. Made that catch, scored. He's going into the end zone, reaches back in agony and grabs his upper hamstring just under the butt cheek and falls to the ground as if he was shot from a tower. Lands to the ground, is writhing in pain. They sprint over to him knowing that he's hurt. I'm like, that isn't a minor problem. This isn't like, ooh, tweaked it. No, you pulled it, and now you just hope it's not off the bone. Because if it's an extreme, grade 2 or whatever, you're like, oh, okay. So we knew that there were no more practices for him. You knew he was not going to play in that first game against Georgia Tech. You knew by the time he came back, he wouldn't be close because he'd be so far behind. You're just chasing. You're constantly chasing. Man, they got unlucky. They got unlucky in addition to screwing up. But just thinking back on that day, I remember it, and I thought, I've seen this. When you have high-end athletes, fast-twitch guys, running backs, cornerbacks, safeties, receivers, if they have a bad hamstring, I mean bad, like the way this looked, not like, oh, he's uncomfortable, but like, ooh, I don't know that he can get up. You're not going to be okay. You're never going to be okay. You're not going to, meaning you're not that year. You're going to have a hard time ever getting close I don't know how healthy he was throughout the year. Not making excuses for him. I just don't know how healthy he was to let it go down the field at any point this year.
Well, you'll have a fair chance now. Tim Harris Jr. instead, looking at what you're doing day to day.
Yeah.
Gus has experience with that. Mike obviously does, but you got two new sets of eyes. That's what the hope has to be. Maybe Hakeem's one of those stories that I was talking about.
That's a good point because he's really done very little since he's been here. When you think about it, you've seen these snapshots in time, these moments, these glimpses. You're like, oh, there it is. And it's gone. Just like that, it's gone. You're like,
Trying to think who else. Cam Davis. I mean, but he's only been here 1 year.
That's 1 year, and he played quarterback in high school. I'm not.
Just need to stay off the ground is all, He will drive a pile if the pile forms, but, just let's get to the point where a pile forms.
He didn't have any vision last year either. My friends at Tried and True Consulting are very active, and they are going to be more active than they've ever been this upcoming year. You're going to want to get on board now. They have done great work here in Tallahassee, in Orlando, really throughout the state. More and more businesses that are involved with us are now involved with them. I've talked to you a lot about the ad board program, and exposes your company and your services that you have to more and more people. They are able to save you money as well. We've talked about, no gateway charges if you sign up with them. It's point of sale systems. If you need to know more about what they do, you're going to want to reach out to them and find out how they can help you. Give them a call today, 844-463-6653. Talk to Don, Joe, Rusty. We're going to be ratcheting it up. I'm excited about this upcoming year. I'm excited that they've done great work in our community. 844-463-6653.
Hi, this is Rudy Ferguson, pastor of New Birth Tabernacle of Praise. Be encouraged, stand still, and watch God move with your morning word with Pastor Ferg. It's something God wants to share with you. Tune in every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. with the morning word with Pastor Ferg. I believe it's going to bless you and keep you for the week to come. Right here on Real Talk 93.3.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping. Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps. Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors and we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless. Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Knoll that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the Battle's End. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373030.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Should be noted, our buddy Ingram Smith has pointed out that if you got any last-minute Christmas shopping to do, everything in the Battles Inn store is on sale, and anything ordered by noon as of tomorrow will be delivered prior to Christmas. And it's the only time that they've ever put the popular QZ, the quarter zip, and many other favorites on sale. Great items that will get shipped same day. I have that quarter zip, and it is gorgeous. And there's a subtle part that is not only is it gorgeous, it is functional. That material you can play golf in, it's stretchy, it's awesome. But also, they have something on the quarter zip they should have on the uniform, which is the state of Florida in the garnet with just the outline, but it's garnet on garnet. So you don't really see it unless you're up close.
Huh.
It's subtle as hell, and it's badass. My dad saw it on my shoulder when I was wearing it one of the last games where it was chilly, and I had the quarter zip on, and he was like, that is awesome. I didn't notice that. I'm like, yeah, subtle.
Not enough things are these days.
No, less is more, buddy. Especially when it comes to fashion. Now, you can go outlandish, and you have to go all in if you're going to do that. That's fine. Certain shirts, things like that, you can have outlandish. But if you're just going to go with regal and classy, like a quarter zip, you just picture the quarter zip smoking a cigar, drinking a good glass of scotch. A little, whatever floats your boat. But for Tom and I, it's the Islay scotches.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
With the quarter zip going with that garnet on garnet state. It's quality.
I got to tell you that the place near where I live is calling my name again just to sit on the hill. It's the sitting on the hill thing because you get a little bit of a cross breeze.
I like that you have found a place.
Yeah.
Except for it's muggy and overcast
Not
and
today.
humid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today is ass sorry.
I was
in
going to open up
Tallahassee.
the screen door and not today.
I walked out this morning, 5:37 a.m., ready for that cold air to hit me in the face because I knew the rains had come, and I thought, oh, that front's coming. Here we go. Walked outside, went, oh, it's not what we do. This is not what we do at all. It's clammy.
Makes that noise like you got a pot full of pasta that's cooked up and you just kind of smack it. That's what it feels like out there. It's gross.
I was devastated. Walked back in disgust as I reached for my coffee. It's not what we do out here. Took my sip.
We need to be better.
We got to do better than this.
This is a May morning. This is not a December morning.
What are we doing out here? Damn it, man. I had anticipated coldness, put on the sweatshirt, Tom. Walked out with, oh, God, get it off of me. I can't. We're going to die in this sweatshirt with this clamminess. It's not what we do. All right. So anyhow, the point with that whole thing is that go to battlesinn.com and get you that Q zip. It's on sale. Quarter zip. That, you're going to like it. Immediately, you're going to go, ooh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Now, bowl games tonight. We got bowl games tonight?
I would think so. They started yesterday. You got to keep on going.
Today is Wednesday. Yesterday, we had 42-37 Memphis over West Virginia. Why am I seeing Thursday, Georgia Southern Sam Houston, and not anything else on the schedule? I know I can't be right about that. I believe we do. There it is. Western Kentucky, James Madison, 5:30. A little happy hour college football for you today, guys. Also, do you laugh in the same way that I laugh when you see the Western Kentucky mascot? The Hilltopper?
Oh, the Hilltopper is amazing.
It's hilarious. Every time I see it, I laugh. I'm like, look at that thing. That is hilarious.
That reminds me that, hopefully the next time Syracuse comes to town is the last time Syracuse comes to town. But I got to get a photo with their orange. I love that thing. It looks ridiculous.
I believe Gene Williams, founder and administrator of Warchant.com, has a great picture. He had it in his old man cave when we used to go over there to record shows of he and the orange down in the Orange Bowl. It's hilarious.
That's Obi. Yes.
Yes.
That's
the giant fat
bowl.
ass.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's, yeah.
No.
No, that's not him.
Mangino.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of Mangino.
He took the photo with Obi. And Obi has the side eyes. He looks very nervous.
Yeah. He's going to get eaten by that fat ass.
But yeah, Obi is not the same as the Syracuse orange, but I want a photo with the Syracuse orange.
By the way, that guy's career, that was the quickest to rise and fall and be done just like that. Remember the argument over the parking space? Next thing you know, he was out of the league. He was done.
I do not remember the argument over the parking space.
He got into an argument about a parking space. I'm sure his fat ass needed to be closer to wherever it was he was parking, but he got into it with a student. He was huge and successful very briefly at Kansas. And then, went south. Did you find the article?
No, I just like the huge and successful.
That was a big man. Yeah, I don't know what went on there, but there was a situation. And just like that, he was out.
So he started his career at Kansas at 2-10, as one does.
Mm-hmm.
But he finished after the 2009 season at 2 games over 500, 50-48 at Kansas.
Well, they went to the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, they did. Well, that's why the photo was taken.
Yeah, they went to the Orange Bowl, Kansas, which at that time, that was crazy to think about. I don't think people realize the extent of futility that has occurred at Kansas in regards to football. If you go back and look at the last 60 years, you're like, well, sweet Jesus. These poor Kansas folk. Good thing they've had basketball that's cheated their way to greatness for a long, long time. But, I mean, this is, whew.
So according to Wikipedia, Mangino lost 125 pounds between 2012 and 2013.
Is he dead?
He's alive.
Oh, he's alive?
Yeah, I don't know what happened since then, but yeah.
Put it back on. That's going to be the guess. It's who he is. California and UNLV.
They did not live happily ever after. She's way too high maintenance. So, son, I know that we're watching this Disney movie, but don't let that fool you. That's not, the story didn't end with a happy note.
People don't change. That guy is who he is. There was a reason in his mid-40s he was 385 pounds.
It was all about the chase, and now he's got it.
He'll fall back.
He'll fall back.
Pizza at 7 a.m. Cal at UNLV is the game that is, really it's at SoFi in Inglewood, where Tom and I drove past as they were building that stadium and found our way to meander to the old Bad News Bears baseball field.
That's right.
Which was fantastic.
Across the 2 trips. Now, the second trip was better for the sightseeing because we made it to Malibu.
Well, we went to that fantastic bar that I had been to the year before as well.
With the Russian mobsters.
The Russian mobsters right there on the rocks overlooking the ocean.
And the unfortunate, I hope they're still doing okay, but the women that were with them that were clearly
probably dead.
It's sad.
It was an ugly deal.
Yeah.
Food was good there. The view was spectacular.
Went to Santa Monica Pier as well.
Yes,
that
we did.
Particular trip.
Had a good time.
That's where we watched the playoff game at the Mexican restaurant on Sunset Boulevard.
One of the great playoff games between the Colts and the Chiefs. And Tom's frustration boiled over as his favorite quarterback of all time had dropped 30-some-odd points, and they still couldn't hold the lead.
40-some-odd, I do believe. 40 with a huge lead, and the Chiefs couldn't hold it.
Couldn't hold it.
No.
I just like that we were walking right down the main thoroughfare, Sunset or whatever, and we walked in to that bar because it was open air.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, those margaritas are calling us. And then they had the big screen, and we had the perfect spot.
Oh, we were all set. We were all
I was like,
set.
we're not moving. Screw this. We're staying right here. We've got open air, margaritas, playoff football. This is it.
That was a full day, man. We drove in. You saw the greatest toupee of all time at the In-N-Out.
Took the picture. You thought he was in the mob and that I should be careful.
I did, and I still wonder.
Witness
if there
protection,
might,
actually.
at some point, not be a brake line issue for you.
I got that photo, and it's a good one, and I still have it. That wig is all time. I
may have it in my
I
archives.
wanted to say to him, sir.
I think you tweeted it out, too.
Oh, I did tweet it out.
Good Lord, sir.
At the In-N-Out Burger. We were at the In-N-Out Burger.
Which was just okay.
It wasn't great. We were at the In-N-Out Burger, and my man was walking over by the soda machine, and I went, my God, would you look at that toupee? Look at that wig. That is unbelievable.
As West Coast fast food goes, Jack in the Box is superior to the In-N-Out.
Ooh, buddy, somebody's going to get upset with you.
No, Jack in the Box is legit.
I don't even think I've had Jack in the Box.
I had it for the first time in San Francisco this past year, and I got to tell you.
It was better than the
Well, it was
In-N-Out?
because there was no hype. I think that was part of it.
Yeah. We had, that was one of the first things we did when we were in Hollywood. We're like, oh, hey, let's go.
It was good.
Yeah,
The In-N-out
of
burger
course,
was
it's hard
fine.
to screw up a burger. You got to be a dumbass to mess up a burger, but yeah.
Many institutions
People do. I know it's hard. You betting on any of these games tonight? I think you can you can take the underdog in every one of these games.
You're looking for somebody to join you in your bets tonight. That's what that was.
Well,
Come
you know
on.
my rule of
Am I
thumb.
the only one who's doing this? Let's go. Get it together.
Well, you know my rule of thumb in the bowl season. I bet every game. I bet every single one of the bowl games because, damn it, time is nigh. I'm saddened. It's almost over. And typically I end up breaking even because a lot of these teams, you don't know who's still going to play, who doesn't want to play, who's opted out of playing. Do they care to be there? You know, just take the points and go, right down the list. I'll take all the points and we'll see what happens. I think a lot of people have that theory. A lot of people I know do that. Just kind of like, I don't know who wants to be there, who does. Sometimes you can clearly identify, well, they're going to use this as a catalyst.
Sure. Yeah, my dad and his one office mate, they always gambled every year, and he would take straight underdogs in the entire bowl season versus all favorites.
Come out like 3 games up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Some years he'd be 10 up. Some years the favorites won, but it was more often than not that the underdogs would carry the day. Too many variables now today, too, in order to reliably bet on something outside of the playoff structure.
Yeah.
There's far too many variables.
Yeah.
There's not enough willingness to play the games.
It's hard. It's really hard. Chef Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A teenager was injured in a Sunday evening shooting off of North Monroe Street. Officers responded to a shooting in the 2800 block of Sherrow Road, the location of a Circle K in Econo Lodge, around 8:30 p.m. A 17-year-old was struck in the arm with a bullet, which resulted in a non-life-threatening injury. The circumstances leading to the shooting and whether the suspect and the victim were known to each other are unclear at this time. The case is an open and active investigation. No suspects have been arrested. A car crashed into the city center office tower in downtown Tallahassee, and another crashed into a tree in front of the property early Saturday after 3 vehicles were reportedly racing downtown. 3 cars were speeding at excess of 90 miles per hour in the moments before the crash at about 1:40 a.m. One car tore through the bottom floor of the office building while another slammed into a tree outside. After the 2 vehicles crashed, the drivers got into the 3rd vehicle and fled. The incident is an open and active investigation. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of rain showers this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Daytime highs approaching 77. Winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected with fog in spots tonight. Slight chance for showers. Lows dip down to about 61. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 72.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF Your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So, like, different, breeds, like different kinds
there's
of...
there's like, families. There's different families. And,
so if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti. Right,
Yep,
and then
Yeti.
Here in Florida, that's a skunk ape, and
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Feels like a Libations Friday. We will not be on the air this Friday. Tomorrow will be the last show of the week. Tomorrow will be a show where if you guys are around and care to help out, we'd really greatly appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and do it. We'll do the fundraising show for the Guardian ad litem. It's always in addition to what we do from the bowling tournament that we just had. A bowling tournament, which Tom rolled a 166. And we will ask that you contribute, and we will tell you that every single penny of that goes directly to the Guardian ad litem. That's right. Not one penny goes to YouTube. Not one penny goes to us in any way, shape, or form. It is to help them directly right to their coffers. It's a great thing.
It is. Yeah. So Google/YouTube will take their pound of flesh on other transactions, but not in this case. It acts as a conduit. So we'll make sure that particular thing is fired up. Last year, the number was humongous. We'll try to do better. It'll be hard to beat. I think it was somewhere closer to $9,000, $10,000, something crazy like that. So it is received with gratitude and received and put into action. There's a purpose for every dollar that you contribute to the Guardian ad litem, and we really appreciate your support tomorrow. We can't wait for it. That's another highlight. Best part of the season, for real, is to give and to do things for others. And so here's your chance tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you. We have a third hour to do it with now tomorrow as well, which is great.
Last year it was huge. Last year it was absolutely huge. I heard directly from Deborah over the weekend that sustained and helped them immensely. And that a lot of people stepped up over time and donated. And what was cool about that is once we got the information out there of how you could do it, then people kept doing it. Like some people waited, maybe they weren't in a position to be able to help out in the moment, but then a week later they did it, or a month later. And I found out from her that, and Minnie over there, that, they'd randomly come into work and check and be like, oh, look at this. Somebody gave us $100 last night. Somebody gave us $50 last night. Somebody donated, $1,000 out of nowhere on a Wednesday in January.
Last year's total was $8,160. And I know some people found other ways to send checks as well. So we pushed between just the Warchant Television 93.3 JCS audience. I'm not talking about the bowling tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Just that was around $10,000.
Huge. I do want to say that in addition, we talked about it. Somebody asked me during the break about the offensive lineman, and I already referenced this earlier in the show if you want to go back and listen to it. But I also am excited to see what Herb Hand does with some of these guys. That is, it's not lost on me how experienced that guy is and how much work he has done in this system with Gus, but also in the SEC, in the Big Ten. He has worked with a lot of really good players in good leagues, and I got a sense that they may have hit a home run there. They may have. Herb Hand. We'll see. We don't know. I've learned my lesson. And you do got to get him players. But I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to do a good job with this group.
I'll be interested because the problem I have is I've heard from a couple of people at different stops along the way that they didn't think that he got the most out of their group. But the offensive line coach is always in the crosshairs. Always.
Nobody likes their offensive line coach. It is seldom that they do.
Well, how does he keep getting hired in Power 5 institutions, Power 2 institutions for most of his career? But he's with Gus, and now he comes from UCF to here. And I got to think, you won't have situations where players that have played together or been in the college game for 4 and 5 years don't look like they know what they're being asked to do. And dudes just roam free into the backfield, unabated to the quarterback or at the point of a handoff.
There were so many breakdowns with fundamental things, both sides of the ball last year, that I just never. At some point, I thought, what do you do at practice? Like after the games start, I don't go to practice often because the game days tell me what I need to know. I don't need to see what you did on Tuesday. Saturday will tell me how you're playing. Saturday will tell me whether or not you're prepared. Saturday tells me whether or not you can execute whatever the game plan was that you practiced this week that I missed, that I wasn't there to see because I'm not going over there during the week. We're preparing for this show. We're doing a lot of things. But the games matter. Practices matter when there are no games. Now, practices always matter to teams, but I'm talking about for us as analysts. I'm saying I don't really care what you did Wednesday. What are you going to do Saturday? Show me on Saturday. If 3 weeks in a row on Saturday, despite whatever report we heard on Monday or Tuesday was great, I don't really care. It's not translating. And there were so many fundamental breakdowns last year to things that you just assume can be. That's what I'm saying. I think that they'll be fundamentally sound next year.
There were more breakdowns on the offensive line than defensively with communication, I think, which is saying something because the defensive ones are easier to see.
I just don't even know how it's possible with all the experience that they had. I still don't. I don't know what happened. They just tune out Alex Atkins? Were they just like, screw you?
Or each other. That's the only other.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Whoa! Check out Pinch a Penny. We're stocked to the rafters with hot spring spas. A recognized leader. Imagine the fun of the holidays with warmth, relaxation, and lovely bubbles. Almost 30 home spas for you to see right now. Affordable right now, too. Up to $2,000 off. Or special financing. Ask for details. Is the world stressing you out like that? Now to assure these prices. Pinch a Penny, open 7 days a week on Career Road.
I'm attorney Dana Brooks with Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from the people we represent that when they share their story of how they were injured, either law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners just didn't believe them. That's why you need an attorney who has your back, no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing you're telling the truth. We're Basic Brooks, and we believe you. Let's talk. 850-777-7777.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
NHL hockey this evening, the Florida Panthers and the Minnesota Wild match up against each other in St. Paul. The Panthers come in 19-11-2. The Wild, they are 27-4. The Panthers are road favorites. They pay out at -140. The Wild with a victory would pay out at +116, and the over-under has been set at 5.5 goals. College basketball tonight in Tampa. 5-5 South Florida plays host to 2-8 Bethune-Cookman. South Florida is a heavy favorite in this game as they are favored by 12.5 points, and the over-under has been set at 145.5. A $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Terms apply. I'm Matt Pauley. This has been your action update on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
Celebrate the magic of the season with last-minute deals at Target. With up to 50% off toys and video games, you'll save so much while you finish your list. Plus, you'll find incredible deals on clothing, beauty, small appliances, floor care, and so much more. And there are even more ways to save when you join Target Circle for free and get exclusive deals automatically. Hurry to save on gifts before last-minute deals are over. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
Last year's RV trip, we met a couple with the same bumper sticker. What are the odds?
Your cousin isn't a good storyteller.
He was a podiatrist, or was it a pharmacist? Huh? You don't say. Oh, I can't remember.
But she owns an RV protected by Progressive, and you don't. So until you get your own RV, her stories are the most interesting stories you've ever heard.
Wow, interesting.
And when you do get your own RV, save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive.
Oh, anesthesiologist. He was an anesthesiologist.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
I'm Franklin, and I've been a Paul's Termite technician for well over 10 years. Working for a great company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a blessing for my family and myself. I get tremendous satisfaction knowing that the work I do helps protect most people's biggest investment, their homes, the place where they raise their families and build lifelong relationships. Paul's is a company that stands behind their commitments, customers, and employees. And that makes me proud to represent them.
I'm Jay. Having the privilege to work with people like Franklin and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We are North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
It's Christmas time, my yard's a mess, friends and family coming, oh, what a stress.
Pick up the phone, the Lawn Johns are near, the Lawn Johns can help, no need to fear.
322-2567.
322-2567.
Lawn Johns, Lawn Johns, 2567.
No need to fear, the Lawn Johns are here.
Holiday shopping is easy this year. Just visit any Tallulah store and you'll find endless stocking stuffer ideas like baked pens, gummies, chocolates, tropical cream, THC treats, and so much more. Treat someone with a gift certificate to one of our state-of-the-art weightless float pods or a night out at Tallulah's Kava Bar. For those looking for an alcohol alternative, treats for under the tree, and stuffing for stockings. You'll find endless gift ideas at Tallulah this holiday season. Find a location near you at TallulahSmokes.com. TallulahSmokes.com.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
For the year, we're out all of next week. We are back tomorrow. We are not going to be here Friday nor any day next week. So we will celebrate Christmas with our families the way that you and yours do as well, and we'll take some time.
If you'd like to be the Pied Piper and signal the Squire, I can wipe up a little message for the people on Warchant TV.
So for those that are able to listen via the stream, Tom, right, on 93.3.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And those that are listening on the radio, driving about town, perhaps doing some Christmas shopping of your own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then you guys get to hear it. Those of you in the chat will be right back, or you can click over.
Yeah, or you're going to hear about a second of it before we mute it.
Because people have asked that we do the right thing. The history of this show is that we have always celebrated Billy Squire's Christmas song, which is Christmas is the time to say I love you. And it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And I've always loved it. It was always great. And I remember watching it as he was singing to Martha Quinn. And I laughed and said, man, that's the best Christmas song nobody knows. So I brought it to the Cameron Show ages and ages ago. And now we play it every year, except for YouTube. It's a bunch of misers. And if we play it, they'll just like that. We're done. They send us off into the universe. And we're not able to make any money off the show or anything else.
Go off into the universe. Not yet.
So I will certainly let you know that we'll be right back. And, oh, by the way, I'll answer your question, Easy Living. I did talk about this yesterday, but I'll talk about it again when we come back about the coordinators and what I came across. And Tom and I did a red zone about it, which was a really good one. Feeling better or worse about certain coordinators.
Always good red zones.
Yeah, very good red zones. Always. Best red zones. Here you go. Crank it up. Billy Squire.
Christmas is the time to say I love you.
Good. Thank you. That warms the soul every time. I'm gonna crank that bitch when I get in the car.
That felt proper. I didn't expect you to say that. Shouldn't have been surprised.
You're right, Life Spectator. That is true. Mojo did love himself some Martha Quinn. And by the way, rest in peace, Mojo, who we lost this year. Good old Mojo. It seemed only appropriate that he died on one of those cruises where the bands played. He was loose, just died. You're like, okay.
He went down the way he wanted to go down.
He did. There was no, he wasn't going to go quietly into that good night. That was that. All right. The question was, what do I think about the interviews with the assistant coaches? And I will tell you that I I'll say the same thing I've said the day that we got Tony White. I'm really impressed, and I'm really excited about who he is and what I think he's going to bring to the table. And, I'm not getting into scheme. They're multiple. So 3-3-5, you can call it that if you want. There's plenty of times they have 4 down linemen. They do a lot of things out of that 3-3-5, and he's done that. He's been malleable his whole career. All coordinators are, by the way. Very few say, no, I run a 4-3, and this is only what they do a lot of things. So it's not surprising to hear that. But I think it was much more about what he's bringing to the table from an attitude standpoint, the way he expects defense to play. They are unpredictable as to how they bring and where they bring pressures from on third and obvious, which would be nice because every team we faced last year on third and fuller knew exactly what was coming, and thus they converted. It didn't matter if it was 3rd and 22, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 11, converted. And I thought at that point, Adam Fuller's going to get fired, and he deserves to be. And the more that it went on, the more that I said, fire his ass midseason. I'm done watching this. It happens occasionally. Guys make plays. I got you. But it can't keep happening in the exact same ways over and over and over again. And it did. So that was, I think, something that had to be remedied. And Mike talked about it as well. Hey, look, he wants to be so much more aggressive. I think he was very careful. He chose his words in press conferences after games when he'd get asked questions about the defense not being able to get off the field. He'd be asked about the 3rd and 21 conversion, the 3rd and 18 conversion, and he'd say, well, that's unfortunate. We just had communication issues. He wanted to say. He wanted to say a lot more, and he couldn't. And he shouldn't. But you could see it. I thought he was a dead man walking. I thought that whole defensive staff was pretty much in trouble at that moment. And they should have been. So I think you're bringing to the table a guy who's going to demand toughness, who's going to fight first to stop the run. All defenses need to be able to do that. I think that permeates your culture. It travels. If you stop the run and you make people one-dimensional more often than not, you can dictate terms, you can get teams behind the chains, and you can bring the pressure. And you can bring it from everywhere. You don't have to be predictable. And so far in his career, that's exactly what he's done. We'll see. Got to have dudes, got to have players. So, maybe it'll work to varying degrees depending on the personnel that you have. But I do think that's more about his attitude and the way that he views defensive football. He was a linebacker himself at UCLA. He's a tough guy. He's a smart guy. He's a focused guy. He's going to demand a way that they play. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, for yesterday's 4 guys, actually, we did this on the recruiting reaction video for the transfer portal signee last night. In no particular order, I thought about Terrence Knighton as heartfelt. He came across as a heartfelt. You could see why players love to play for him. For Herb Hand, he came across as old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a throwback. Evan Cooper, the safeties coach, came across as a salesman. I think you need that. We've had a gap in the staff of a personality type like Evan Cooper. He takes to the desk, go, oh, okay, I see what you're about.
Mm-hmm.
You're about sales. And then Tim Harris Jr. is diligent, professional. I thought he carried
meticulous in a way. Yeah.
Very detail oriented. Yeah. A very different collection of 4 people, which I like. You've got everything from, I think Knighton is a great successor to Odell Haggins because he's already a heart and soul hire and he's worn our stuff for 4 days.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's a Knoll. He never had been before, but he feels like he fits. And he did the right thing when he started his press conference.
Yeah, he gave Odell some love. Yeah.
And he kind of alluded to that he wants to succeed Odell by being here for a long, long time. Whether or not that's going to end up being the case, it's a smart move.
If you win at Florida State and you get this culture right and you sustain it for any length of time, there's no reason to want to leave. You can win a national championship here. They've won 3. They've played for many others. You can be part of one of the elite programs in all of college football. The real issue for Florida State the last 25 years has been the inconsistencies in which Florida State properly played to its level, to its peak efficiency. They have not been able to sustain it, hold on to it, cultivate it. Bobby Bowden did an amazing job, an all-time great job, and part of that was the cohesiveness of staff. Part of that was the cohesiveness of message. Part of that was it was the right coach at the right time at the right university. All of these things that play a role in it, but that was sustained excellence in a way that I don't know that you can duplicate anymore in college football, given the wild terrain we're trying to navigate now. You're going to watch programs that are of note fall off cliffs a lot. It's going to happen frequently. You're going to hear programs that have not been good at any point or very rarely been good at any point in their history suddenly shoot up the rankings and find their way into the playoff, i.e. Indiana. You're going to see things like that now because college football has changed. Hence my point that I'm not sure you can sustain 40 straight years of ass-kicking football, 30 straight years of ass-kicking football, whatever it might be. But you certainly can do a better job of finding consistency and aspiring to reach what your best is and sustaining that. Your best is here. You're the best in the country. Your best at Wake Forest is you get ranked in the top 10 and you make a big-time bowl game and you compete to win the ACC title. That was your best, and it's fleeting, but you could do it.
Which now means you could make a playoff bid.
Right.
You could make a run. You could be
Right.
SMU. You could do what SMU did this
Yeah.
year.
But when you're your best at Florida State, you can win a national championship. You can have a top class in recruiting, and you can be a desirable place for any elite player like a Keon Coleman or otherwise, because they know the garnet and the gold carries weight. You win here, you get drafted high, you can produce, you can bring home a championship. They got to get to where they get. I mean, we thought that's what Mike had done. The real embarrassment about 2-10, besides the record, and the real embarrassment of having gone 13-0 and turning around and going 2-10 in a way that is almost unprecedented in the history of college football. To me, the real embarrassment is that Mike had already done, or at least the most disappointing aspect, maybe not the embarrassment, is that Mike had done the heavy lifting. I've said this repeatedly. I cannot fathom how it is my man had done the heavy lifting and did the hard part, which was bring a team out of the muck and into the light and find a way to win 23 games in 2 years and reclaim your rightful spot atop the ACC, having knocked off Clemson on the road, win the ACC championship. We're back, baby. Let's go. Until you're 2-10 the next year. That is the stunning and most disappointing aspect of all of this, because we didn't think that we were going through this yet again. And Florida State, even under Jimbo, and obviously there was nothing to write home about during the lost decade, but you realized that Florida State was not sustaining Ohio State-like level of excellence, or, you name your program Alabama. These are exceptions, not the rule. Most programs can't. But you can never, if you're this kind of a program, be where this program is currently. You really just, it's unfathomable.
That's where I feel like there are some fail-safes in place now relative to last year that will help you in crises. I feel like if you, and we talked about this with the coordinator press conferences, but I feel all the more confident about it now. If you have a crisis and you have to call into the room your assistants and say, how do we navigate this particular issue? That Tony White's in the room, that Gus Malzahn's in the room, Herb Hand's seen everything. Odell has seen so much dysfunction here at Florida State in the last 20 years and so much success. He's a great guy to count on. Again, Tim Harris seems like an extremely detail-oriented person. Chris Thompson is somebody that Mike can lean on and trust in a private moment as well because of their history between the two of them. Just if you're going to go through something serious, and it could be something good, and you've got a good problem. We've got two really good quarterbacks, guys. What do we do? Who do we give the nod to?
Yeah.
It just feels like the brain trust in the room for that type of decision-making is far better than it was.
So I think this is something that is irrefutable. I think that is true. It doesn't mean that this is going to work. Like, for example, if you want to take...
It doesn't guarantee.
It doesn't guarantee.
No.
If you want to take issue with the decision to bring in Gus Malzahn, run that offense, and bring in a quarterback who's 5'10" and run-oriented first and foremost, you can say, I don't like this style of play. I don't think you can win a championship with this style of play. I wish we had not gone this route. I wish we had gone another route. I'll listen to that. I'm fine with that. I've made that point before. I think it's entirely possible. Certainly it was in yesteryear that you couldn't win a championship like that. Now I know you can. You can now. You can certainly put yourself in a position to now, because many of those concepts and those things are now adopted by even those pro-style offenses. And I'm fine with that. I get that you now have kind of the marriage of those things. but I'm all right with those that aren't in love with the path that he's chosen. But I think that it is inarguable.
It's better than where we are. To get where we want to go, you at least have to take a step, and you have to take a step all in. So I don't begrudge that. I just, aesthetically, all right, there we go. Ooh, do we give it? Do we keep? Ooh, look at this little pop pass.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Right. I'm not in love with it.
But when you're bad, it's a great thing to fall back to when you're bad, because it speeds up the
stuff works when you're bad.
It speeds up the process of what you can get out of what, if
But-
you have lesser talent.
Yeah, but remember, I do think we've seen enough of these elements incorporated into your standard offenses now that everybody has it. Everybody's got it in their bag of tricks. Everybody's got aspects of it. It may not be the basis for their offense, but they'll have many of these things incorporated. Read options are incorporated in every single offense in America.
Yeah.
So fine, do that, go all in, get it right, and tinker as we go along. But get back to winning some damn games, being able to run the ball, be functional. Just be functional. We were pathetic.
This scheme will demand physicality, and that's the thing that I'm all for. This is very much, it feels like one of those topics in yesteryear in politics where you agree on more than you disagree on. Now, there may be some things on the bill that, are called Democrat or Republican, but I think we can all agree here whether or not Gus Malzahn's offense is my cup of tea. It asks for us to do things that we all desperately want to see Florida State do again, which is play physically, get downhill, impose your will on an opponent. Like, that's where, if this isn't the guy I would have loved to see take the gig, I'm glad he's here for that reason, because we need it so bad. We need physicality on both sides of the ball more than we need the wins. We got to start looking like ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't look like ourselves.
Yeah, I do think they'll be competent next year, and I think they'll look organized and they'll communicate. They'll be physical and they'll run the ball. All things that didn't happen a year ago. Didn't look competent, didn't look organized, didn't look coordinated, weren't physical, could not run the ball. I'm going to put a check in the box that says we'll be all of those things next year. How good will we be? I don't know. But being all of those things gives you the best chance to win some damn football games, especially against those middling teams of the ACC. Might not be able to beat the better teams that you face on your schedule with what we have in the system we're running, but you certainly can win the games you're supposed to win. And we did not do that a year ago.
You can't even have the conversation about what Florida State should be until you get to another step from where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, yes, this offense should at least allow us to have that conversation. Right now, you can't even do it. You can't even start it.
Yeah.
No, you suck, Tom. Sorry. We can't even have that conversation.
Yeah.
You're
But
terrible.
no, stop. No, it's not going to work.
Can't run. So, next.
Yeah. I know. Shannon Young, loansforknowles.com. Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation is who it is that he works for, but he'll work for you and hard and smart and tirelessly if you give him a call today and let him know you're interested because you want to buy a new home. Perhaps you want to pay off some debt on those credit cards and get a much better interest rate. He can do that for you, raise your credit score, and put you in a position to buy that home or add on to the one that you have. Whatever it might be, Shannon Young is your guy. Loansforknowles.com. Gives back money to the Battles Inn as well and is a good, I can attest to this, hard-working guy. Smart. Really, really, really smart and really hardworking. Once again, loansforknowles.com.
Ain't nothing but a G-Pod, baby. I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go. Well, you like remixes, right? Of course. Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby!
See? Remix!
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Tis the season for shopping and searching for the perfect gift for the truly special people in your life. And there's no better way to show them you care than shopping at Pentalta Jewelers. Come check out the Glock brand watches for the men in your life. Tough and masculine, but still stylish and classy. Or browse the showroom full of gorgeous gemstones, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, rings, and more. Pentalta is also one of the only remaining local jewelry repair and custom shops in town. You can create custom personalized jewelry or bring any heirloom or older jewelry back to life in stunning detail. There's something for everyone at Pentalta Jewelers. Shop local this holiday season at Pentalta Jewelry, located at 2903 Appalachia Parkway, where they've always been.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Sellers, are you stuck between wanting to sell your home and waiting for rates to fall? Are you worried about the contingency of having to sell your home? What if you didn't have to? With a 2-1 rate buy down, you can lock in a lower interest rate for the first 2 years of your mortgage and get the home you want now, all while having a higher chance to buy that next home with the contingency of selling yours. If you wait for rates to fall, you risk more competition, sellers less likely to wait, and paying more for that next property. If you're stuck, we need to talk. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's 954-369-6171. And don't forget, for every loan we close for our fellow Knowles, I will personally donate $250 to the Battle's End.
Equal housing rent. NMLS number 373031.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. That's right. Now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1, find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Again, tomorrow will be the fundraising arm here of the JCS as we try to help out our friends at the Guardian Ad Litem. We make it very simple tomorrow for those of you that want to help, and we appreciate everybody that does, no matter what it is you contribute. It is appreciated. Could be 50 cents, could be $10,000. I don't know. I'm wowed all the time as people have stepped in and stepped up time and again as we collect for those that could use a little pick-me-up during the holiday season, the kids that are oftentimes part of foster care or a bad situation at home get helped out by the Guardian Ad Litem and your donations. They are able to have a day in which they open Christmas presents, just like the rest of us, where they are afforded the opportunity via a gift card or something of that ilk to take to the store with their advocate that will pick them up and take them to a Best Buy or wherever it is the gift card is for, and help them maybe get something for themselves if they're a little bit older as opposed to just like a toy, you know? And we appreciate that, and your donations allow for that. So you're seeing on the board here, if you're watching on Warchant TV, Tom has posted the website to review tomorrow's charity. If you'd like to read more about what they do and how they do it and where the money goes. But again, any money contributed tomorrow during the course of this show via the vehicle that is YouTube, that money goes 100% into the coffers of the Guardian Ad Litem And none of it goes to us. None of it goes to YouTube. Nobody gets to take a percentage of it. Nothing like that. It goes in its entirety. You give $100, $100 goes to the Guardian ad litem.
The right way to do it.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to do it, too.
And for those of you that are listening on the radio, or if you're on podcast version, to review the charity ahead of tomorrow's show, you need to be on Warchant TV, specifically the YouTube channel. It will not work on Facebook. It will not work on X. So you need to be on YouTube in order to engage in the payment process that they set up. But if you're listening on audio, GALF, the number 2.org. So that's the Guardian Ad Litem Florida 2nd Circuit as the specific area that we donate to, because that's the Big Bend area. That's right here in our own backyard. So we are thrilled to be able to fire up that show tomorrow. And as I said, last year, just under $8,200 was raised.
Woo!
Let's see if we can.
Can we do it? Yeah.
Can we do it?
Yeah. Can we beat
We'll have
it?
3 hours tomorrow to take a crack at it.
See if we can. I hope so. A Virginia man has died after a bear in a tree, shot by one of his buddies, fell on him. That is fantastic. The incident occurred in Lunenburg County, there near Danville, Virginia. And that, according to the Department of Wildlife Resources, a hunting group was chasing a bear. Scared, it ran up a tree, as it does when it's being shot at. The group retreated from the tree. The hunter shot the bear. The bear then fell out of the tree because it's been shot. And the dumbass who was standing underneath the tree got landed on. And he's dead. Dead in the herd.
How's the bear doing?
He too is dead. Best part of this story is that I found out similar incidents have occurred. A man in Alaska was chasing and trying to shoot a bear, and his hunting partner was able to catch up to the bear and shot it. It was on a ridge. The animal tumbled down a slope back towards the man, dislodged a bunch of rocks, and his partner was killed when the bear rolled into him along with the stones that were now falling that were dislodged after he was shot. So he just got trampled by both the bear they were seeking to kill and the rocks.
Do you smell what the rocks are cooking?
I chuckled at that one as well. In 2019, a guy in North Carolina was chasing and trying to shoot a bear. Caught up with the bear and he shot him. Bear, also scared, had run up a tree. When he shot him, the bear fell out of the tree, but he wasn't dead. He landed on the hunter and began to chew on him.
Oh.
The man and the bear that was chewing on the man ended up falling off of a cliff.
The both of them did?
Both of them did.
Dear.
They're in the death throes. Just a little bit of thin the herd on a Balls McWednesday during Christmas time. There you go. And thanks to the individual who sent me that one.
Then in North Dakota, a bear stormed into a lodge with a loaded AR and took them all out.
Oh, that was good. I enjoyed it.
Circusly trained bear. Knew how to shoot a rifle.
College football playoff spreads are close. I think that that's good for those that want to see a competitive and fun postseason tournament, if you will. I think that there's the opportunity for upsets. And the one thing I will say, when I was perusing the schedule today of the playoff, which begins obviously this Friday, Indiana, Notre Dame, 8 o'clock. It's within a touchdown spread. Saturday at noon, you get SMU Penn State. That too is it's a bigger spread. That's 8.5. Texas Clemson, Tennessee Ohio State. Tennessee Ohio State, the night game. Don't you think, Tom, if this were at Tennessee, that would be a much more entertaining, a better game? Could be a good game either way.
Yeah, for all of the fanfare they get at Columbus, the horseshoe, and they've closed it since when I was a kid.
I ran down it when it was the horseshoe back in the day.
You ran down their football field.
I did. I've run down many a football field.
You didn't drag your cheeks on it?
I didn't drag my cheeks on it. My dad has a friend that lives in Columbus that loves Ohio State. I was a kid. We traveled to Columbus to visit said friend. I said, let's go by Ohio State. I've always wanted to see it. We did. I ran down the field. It was when the horseshoe was open. You could run to the open end, and I did.
Yeah. If it's played in Columbus, you feel, okay. That's a lot of people.
Feels quiet in Columbus. I've never seen a game in Columbus. My dad has gone a couple of times again, said buddy, but I have not gone to a game there. It would seem to me to be loud. I did see the cinematic recap that Michigan did when they entered into the stadium, and it was incredible. By the way, that's the best one I've ever seen. That was the right music at the right going on with our interweb.
It's just specifically your camera.
But you also had it happen. It was doing the whirly-do for you for a moment when you were talking.
I don't know. Spinny whippity-do?
Yeah. But anyhow, that entrance into the stadium was fantastic. You really did feel like the gladiatorial sense of that, right? Like going into the Lions' Den.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
incredible.
Yeah.
Florida State needs to do that when we're good again and we're on the road facing somebody in adverse conditions.
I really do feel that the university could stand to call on us for help in some circumstances, many circumstances.
Most
really.
of them.
Most circumstances.
Mhm.
Well, yes. The athletic department would use us in many ways. For me, you could get me to fix the uniforms in the garnet, and I'd be happy to do that free of charge.
Yeah, we can get the right garnet.
And then for you, you would be the director of pre-game hype.
Oh, buddy.
You would be the entrance czar.
That'd be awesome.
This place would be fantastic.
People would be like, holy moly, look what we've done here for the big games.
Well, you're akin to, and I haven't been to a ton of hockey arenas, but anybody who goes down to Tampa before a game.
It's a 15-minute, 20-minute process.
What?
The pregame at the Lightning is incredible.
I thought you meant going to all arenas, man. That's a multi-year process.
Yeah, multi-year process, yeah.
Anybody who comes down there, in fact, a mutual friend of ours, Spencer, who had been to tons of Washington games and Chicago games, he said, man, first game in Hamley, that place, they get you charged up. My dad went to a game for the first time in 10 years with me, and he goes, when does it start? I can't take this anymore, because you just feel so hyped. That's what you would be for Florida State before the game starts. The band plays what they play, and people get fired up, and then as they're fired up from the fight songs and the traditions, you come in like a pagan from hell, and people feel fear, they feel inspired, they feel bloodlust,
they feel a little sense of the Vikings taking over new land. Yes,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
yeah.
They're all a little scared of how much bloodlust they feel in that moment, but that's what you would evoke.
It's football. The thing I think that I would bring to the table, since I've been on the air for 27 years here in Tallahassee, I believe, Tom, that I would, and to go back much, much further, obviously, attending games with my father all the way back to 1980, a sense of specific history against teams. Like, I have things etched in my brain about every Clemson Florida State game I've ever seen. Moments that are exhilarating, like good ones, like the Peter Warwick game at Clemson as the sun set and he's amassing hundreds of yards by his lonesome. I would have a montage when Clemson came here that was specific to that. It was Greg Jones running over their entire team. Is it 02 or 01? Either one, I have that running, okay? So that's what you're going to get. You're going to get very specific moments from that game to go along with the Slayer and along with the bloodlust. The Clemson fans there are going to be watching the times in which this was done unto them.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and look, remember James Wilder in 2012 iced the game with a run where he broke 7 tackles. Brent Musburger loved him some James Wilder. In fact, the call of the James Wilder game is over run from 2012 is far better than the Kelvin Benjamin touchdown call.
Well, he was sleeping, and he was losing a bet.
But if you ran, let's just say, Wilder's the penultimate clip and then Greg Jones as the final clip.
Oh.
And then you cut it to black, and then spotlights on the field. And set up on the field is a fake rock, just like it's set up in Clemson. And then here comes Greg Jones.
Oh,
and he kicks it to the ground.
Oh, would be adding
fireworks erupt in the sky, and the Noles take the field. Oh my goodness!
But it should always be a part of the Florida State Clemson matchup. The moment that Wilder comes out and flexes,
Yeah.
Because it's all time good. It is we are here to whoop your ass. You have no idea what kind of ass kicking's coming. Fond memories of the conversation with Jimbo before that game. And then the glance that he gave me on the sidelines when the ass kicking was thorough and well into the third quarter. The look over like, what are you doing here? How about this ass kicking? It was kind of like I'm mad you're here, but I told you.
There's that look of, the paranoia meets satisfaction. We didn't get a ton of that from Jimbo, but we got enough of it.
Oh, yeah.
That there's a banner forever. But that looked like, okay, all right. I think I can relax now. Which you can.
Yeah.
You can, Jimbo. You did just call that play action out of our own end zone, up $1 million. Sure.
They were, and that was funny, by the way, calling that. It was awesome to do that.
I was actually up in the press box for a refreshment for that point before I came back down, and the entirety of the press box groaned with sick joy. They're like,
oh, my man's throwing play action.
Oh, man.
Play action, baby. Pitch and Penny Pools and Spas have everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers. You name it, they've got it. Already have the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the entire city, which you can easily finance. Make these amazing hot tubs affordable for just about anybody, that's for sure. If you have an older hot tub, they'll come and take it away for you and give you money towards the new one that you want, right? Not only will Pitch and Penny Pools remove and haul that thing away, they are setting you up for a joyful winter as they give you money towards that new one. They make it easy. Go see them today on Greer Road. Find out for yourself how easy and affordable it really is. Pitch and Penny Pools and Spas, if you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how. And don't forget, on sale right now, they're priced to fly out the door, Tommy. As I like to tell you, you got that Spring Pace Model 5 seater.
Spring Pace. For the winter flow.
That's right. Reduced to just $8,500, 0% financing. Forget about it. It's like the old television deals we used to get back in the day. 0% financing for 5 years. Yes, I'll buy that $27,000 television. I'll get that thing.
They have one that can fit on my patio and custom build it.
Man, I was in Costco yesterday, Tom. I had to run and get some stuff for the weekend, and I walked in, and there was a 97-incher.
It's an odd number.
Yeah, 90 might have been 95. Might have been 95.
Again. Well, 95. Yeah.
I have an 85, so this is
That's true.
Yeah.
They do odd numbers.
Yeah.
That's right.
Buddy, come on, man. I saw that, and I was like, I should move mine to the back and put this 95-incher up.
The question is, do you wait another year or two? We need to talk to our tech people, because now the virtual goggles, the MetaQuest and all that kind of stuff is starting to actually catch up and be good.
Yeah.
They might start to put this in more sporting events. I know the NBA has already done that, where if you
you pay somebody, there's a seat with guys sitting there, and you can watch courtside.
Around.
Yeah,
that's pretty killer.
Pretty amazing.
But that should drive down the price of TVs all the more, I would think, as that option becomes more feasible and affordable for people. So you could get a 122-inch television for the price of something right now that's $85. That's not that far away.
It's going to be good times. Probably in about 4 years, Tom, every house will have a 100-inch. You go in there, you're like, oh, good to see Bob caught up with the times. Good looking out, Bob. You finally got you a good television. But you're never going to have to go to a party and be like, what kind of nonsense we got going over here in the corner?
I've got 15-foot ceilings. I could pull it off.
Oh, you could. Problem is, I don't know that you have the distance back from it.
Screw it.
Well,
if my eyes go at a different age than most, and so be it.
That matters, man. That's the viewing experience.
Got to put on SPF 15 when I put hockey on.
Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has arrested and charged a Cairo woman who is believed to have stolen several $1 million after receiving a report that funds held by South Georgia Law Associates, LLC in Thomasville, had been misappropriated. The GBI were called in to investigate. On Monday, December 9th, Melissa Merrick, 50 of Cairo, was arrested and charged with 8 felony counts of forgery in the 3rd degree and 1 felony count of theft by taking. Agents and investigators determined Merrick was responsible as a law firm's office manager, and that she had full access and control their financial accounts. For several years, Merrick moved funds between the law firm and GFA Design Build Contractors LLC, a Cairo company owned by Merrick and her husband. It is estimated that the final amount of the theft will be several $1 million. Merrick was arrested and booked into the Thomas County Jail. This investigation is ongoing, and additional charges are expected. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
A cool down ahead for the end of the week. Until then, highs are staying in the 70s by Friday. Highs are in the 60s, and this weekend in the 50s with lows in the 30s and 40s. Tonight, a 30% chance of rain, partly cloudy, low near 60. Thursday, mostly sunny, 20% chance of rain early, high of 73, low of 46. Friday, sunny, high of 66. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Feels like this should be the last show of the year. It's not. I'm glad it's not, because tomorrow we'll do well. And we'll be able to help people out. But that's where my brain is starting to go. I'm going to have to lock it in tomorrow on a Redemption Thursday. Luckily, we've got games, so I'll be able to do that.
Are we coming back on the, what would that be, the 30th and 31st?
It was
okay. All right. It's Monday, Tuesday. I got you.
We'll see. Let's play it by ear, man.
Let's see if there's news.
Let's see if there's something to talk about. We might have a recorded thing or two, you know.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. I believe that's probably true. But I know that tomorrow will be the last show for this week and all of next week. So there's that. And then we'll figure out the rest. You know, very quietly, since we've got this to talk about, and I don't want to overstep it here, but I will tell you that I think that there's a good chance the Bucks, if they're healthy and they're starting to get healthier each week that goes by, are going to be a problem in the playoffs. They are not a team you want to play right now.
That's correct. Yeah, they've got multiple weapons at every level, and that's with Godwin hurt, which is just kind of nuts.
It's cool to watch, seeing this all play out. I mentioned some of the numbers. We're seeing something unprecedented happening in Atlanta, but I think they made the right move in dumping Cousins or putting him on the bench. It is hard to fathom. At one point, they were 6-3. The Bucks were 4-6, 3 games back in the lost column at almost 10 games played. And they may blow this lead. Now the Bucks are in the lead, and they still have to take care of business because Atlanta has the tiebreaker, and inexplicably both times beat the Bucks. They did. They earned that, and I'll give Cousins credit for that, and I'll touch on whoever just donated in a moment. But how quickly this happens, and you watch people get hurt or you have injuries, and then you see them try to play through it, and you realize, and I got to guess that's what's going on here. Tom, in weeks 8 and 9, Kirk Cousins completed 79% of his passes with 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That staked the Falcons to a 2-game lead plus the tiebreaker in the NFC South. Cousins over the next 5 games, 1 touchdown, 9 picks. They lost 4 in a row, said goodbye to first place, and then he tried to lose to that wretched bunch in Las Vegas. Cousins, you could tell after that game when Raheem said that, look, the quarterback's got to play better and he knows it. That's kind of code for I'm about to bench his ass. They were so scared of him throwing to the wrong team. They did not let him throw a first down pass in the first half of that game. He didn't get that's when you want to throw. Didn't get an opportunity to throw on first down.
Well, and if you're going to change, this is the time to do it as you take on the Giants.
And yes, it's a nice little.
This is the time.
Yeah.
Because if it goes wrong, then you just pivot back to Kirk and, no harm, no foul. You win the football game and you have Washington in 2 weeks. That's what you need to have the answer for is when you take on Washington. Very important.
And they're both fighting at that point.
Correct.
And it's awesome. By the way, the second half of that game against the Raiders, so they didn't let him throw one time on first down in the first half. They opened the second half by allowing him to throw on first down. He threw a pick. 8 of the next 9 plays they called were runs. They finished the game 38 runs, 17 passes. He completed 11 passes. Now, to their credit, they didn't need to throw it a lot because they ran for, like 200 yards or 200 plus yards anyhow, and they ended up, they mustered 13 points on offense. Got a safety on defense, but that's 260 yards for the game. That'll hurt your feelings. So I think they've made the right move by going to Penix. And here's what's funny for them if they're Atlanta. And I've heard Atlanta fans say, well, what are you going to do? Have a $40 million quarterback on the bench and a guy who's under a rookie contract starting? Yes, because that salary would be the same if it were in reverse. If the $40 million guy was starting and the rookie quarterback was under the rookie quarterback contract that he's under right now, you'd still be paying the same for your quarterback room.
Yeah, exactly.
The difference is you're playing a kid who's going to maybe give you a chance to win a game.
And you've got a preponderance of evidence that you must make the move. It's not one bad week where he throws 5 picks, and 5 picks would be alarming in one game. Jared Goff has done it this season.
Yeah, won that game.
Right, but you could have that game, and if you made the move after that, I don't like it. But you have a month's worth of evidence that tells you that this isn't even close. And to your point, it's either his arm is dead forevermore or he's just hurt or he's hurt and something can come of it next year where he'll be a little bit more healthy. And we'll get to next year when we get to next year is the right attitude if you're Atlanta because we didn't sign up for just barely missing the playoffs.
No, you got to try to win the division. The Bucs could slip up. They've got a game against Dallas that could get tricky. It's a night game. We'll see.
We've got Dallas, the Saints, and the Panthers. And the Saints,
they play hard. They're weird.
You could be 20-17, go the wrong way. And Carolina's been a thorn in the side as well. They've played much better in the second half of the season. That's who Atlanta closes with, I believe, this season.
Sucked last week when I picked them, but anyhow,
they did.
They were awful. Reverted back to who they were. The child was back at quarterback.
Well, you never know who he's going to be this week.
Major League Baseball released a study today, and it made me laugh because they concluded, and they were trying to figure it out, guys. They didn't know what was the number one contributing factor to all of the pitching injuries, arm injuries lately. They said, we got to do a study. Let's do a study and figure it all out. Quote from the orthopedic surgeon in the study. I think there are a lot of factors. There's no question that if we take and look at the simplest of things, which is velocity, you can see how the average increase in fastball velocity is completely paralleled to the increase of injuries. If you could take one factor, I'd say it's that guys are throwing as hard as they can on every pitch. Pitchers at a professional level are at least somewhat aware of the injury risks, but choose the more dangerous style of pitching because they perceive that the rewards outweigh the risks, particularly in the near term. And guess what that's done? It's trickled down to the amateur ranks where college kids and high school kids are trying to throw as hard as they can on every pitch because they want that gun to read 100. So kids, parents, coaches, agents all know that speed pays. They training year-round specifically to garner that speed, to say it to the college they want to go to. He throws 98. And thus, injuries have skyrocketed. I don't know that I needed to study.
That'll be $15 million.
I don't know that I needed a study to tell me that if you throw as hard as you can at all times, as opposed to dialing it up here and there for a specific moment in time in which there's a runner on second, 2 outs in a 1-run game in the 8th, and I need to throw one past you and miss a bat. Okay, I'll dial it up to 99. Otherwise, I'm actually pitching, slowing down, speeding up. I mean, I could have saved Major League Baseball a lot of money. They have a lot of money, but I could have probably just said, look, guys, I don't have a medical background. Seems to me everybody throwing 100 is probably the problem.
Yeah, it's and a lot of old timers you'd be preparing that report for. So if they're old timers, you can tell them, well, do you think Sam Kinnison's style of comedy was for everybody? You think Louis Anderson could have done Sam Kinnison's style of comedy where he just shouts all the time? Think that's going to be good for Louis' system and longevity? Probably not. But we live in the Sam Kinnison era of baseball and pitching, where everybody is screaming at the top of their lungs at all times with what they throw.
And it's interesting, too, because they were talking about how there's a lot of increased injuries to relief pitchers as well. And they're like, yeah, because they all throw as hard as they can because they're told you got 1 inning. You don't save anything. Throw everything you got. What are you laughing about?
Just the sound in my head.
You're thinking of sand. It's sand. It's always going to be sand.
That's right. The last 404,000 years. You know what it'll be 100 years from now? Sand.
Yeah.
We just need to send them luggage.
It was a good bit. And apparently, if you were at the Comedy Store at that time, you were like, whoa, what is happening here? This is different. Yeah, I know. Well, it happens every now and again. Those guys don't last long, and he's dead.
That's right. Much like many relief pitchers in the majors, minors, and college.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy the game tonight, everybody. Should be good. Should be fun. And we got 2 of them. A 9 o'clock kick again. Tom, you going to make it? Got a 5:30 kick and a 9 o'clock kick.
Maybe. We'll see.
The football's dwindling, Tom.
Thursday night, I'll be up. You bet your bottom dollar I'll be up.
Here is Billy Squier. For those of you in the feed, you're not going to hear it. Go to the